This podcast of the Equine Forum is brought to you by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program at the College of Business. It all begins in 15 seconds right after this word from our podcast sponsor.
The University of Louisville Equine Industry Program at the College of Business is now offering a graduate certificate, which can be completed in 15 or 30 weeks and be done as a standalone or used as 20% of your MBA. Classes at both the undergraduate and graduate level are forming now for August.
From the rail to your radio, this is the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Mike Smith says go with Royal Delta, and she is going indeed. Going to open up a 5-length lead here. And Authenticity runs in second as they come down to the finish. Here is a champion on display, Royal Delta. Geared down in the final yards of the personal ensign. The others need to get going now. Spring Quality is third, and Glorious Empire still got run. Glorious Empire's gonna do it all the way under Julian Laparo taking the Sword Dancer.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
A furlong to run. Matoli to catch. She's got a 2.5-length lead. Firenze Fire is second. Kelly Biggs Captain is third. Behind the mighty Matoli, who won the Fargo by 3.5 lengths.
Thunder Gulch forges to the lead at the 8th pole. Pyramid Peak running the race of his life, but he's second, and Malthus is a closing third. Composer flattens out, and it will be Thunder Gulch, the 126th winner of the Travers.
Now here's Mike Penna.
Good morning once again, everyone. It is post time for the show that launched a network. It is the Equine Forum, and it's all presented by TwinSpires right here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Mike Penna, bearing in the backstretch. As always, very happy to have you in the starting gate with me right up until 11 a.m. Eastern. You're listening on Sirius 216, XM Channel 204, affiliates in Lexington, Louisville, and across the country, and, of course, streaming worldwide and podcast on our website at horseracingradio.net. And don't forget, all of our HRRN shows are available for you to listen to anytime that works for you, wherever you are accessing your podcasts. Well, happy Travers Day. The 153rd edition of the Midsummer Derby takes place right around 5:44 Eastern, give or take a minute, later this afternoon. And other than the absence of Belmont winner Mo Donegal, who is sidelined with some bone bruising, I would say you've pretty much got the best in this division squaring off. Kentucky Derby upsetter Rich Strike is going to try to prove that he's more than just a one-hit wonder. Preakness hero Early Voting has to find a way to make up about 5 lengths or so on Epicenter, who rolled past him pretty easily in the Jim Dandy 4 weeks ago. Haskell hero Cyberknife, well, he hasn't lost since finishing 42 lengths behind Rich Strike in the Kentucky Derby. Seems like all that did was just make him mad. And Zandon certainly has the look of a horse sitting on a big race, doesn't he? It's his second start off the layoff, following his runner-up effort behind Epicenter in the Jim Dandy. But so far, Epicenter has owned Zandon. The 3 times they've faced each other in their careers, Epicenter has finished in front of Zandon every time. Then there's newcomer Artorias, who adds a lot of intrigue to this year's Travers. He's lightly raced. He's highly regarded on the morning line. I think he's 9-2. And this will only be his 4th career start. So plenty of upside there, plenty of room for improvement. And he looked good winning the Keeneland last time out. Plus, he's a son of Arrowgate, the fastest ever winner of the Travers. But let's assume that the 3-year-old championship is going to be decided in this race today. And it's not going to be Artorias, certainly. But let's assume that the championship will be decided depending upon who wins this race. And it very well might be. There has been no consistently dominant 3-year-old male this year. If Rich Strike, who upset the Kentucky Derby at odds of 80-1, wins the Travers, is that good enough to lock up what would be one of the most improbable championships we've ever seen? I don't think it necessarily guarantees him the championship, but I think it would make it hard to go against him. I also think a victory by Rich Strike would narrow the field to just 2 horses with a legitimate stake to the championship title, unless something crazy were to happen this fall when the 3-year-olds start facing older horses. Which 2, you ask? Rich Strike and Cyberknife. That's it. If Rich Strike wins, he's in the... Look, keep in mind, the only thing voters should take into consideration is the body of work these horses have put in 2022. Rich Strike would be a winner of the Kentucky Derby and the Midsummer Derby. That carries a lot of weight. Cyberknife would be the only other member of the Travers field to be able to say he has won 2 Grade 1 races this year. He won the Arkansas Derby, and he took the Haskell last time out. Rich Strike, of course, would have those 2 Grade 1s, the Kentucky Derby and the Travers. Epicenter, who is getting all the headlines and is the likely favorite in the Travers today, is a multiple Grade 2 winner. 3 of those, to be exact, this year. But he has not won a single Grade 1 race. Not one. Now, he's probably been the most consistent runner in this 3-year-old crop. He's always around. He always runs his race. He's a really, really good horse. But he has not won a Grade 1. So when voters start taking a look at the 3-year-old championship, if Epicenter does not win the Travers, he'll still be looking for that first Grade 1 of his career. He was second in the Derby, second in the Preakness. But he's never finished in front in one of those races. In my opinion, that holds significant weight. Early voting has 1 Grade 1 this year. That came in the Preakness, okay. As does Zandon, who won the Bluegrass this spring at Keeneland. So, as improbable as it may seem, a victory by Rich Strike in today's Travers not only makes him a contender for a 3-year-old championship, it makes him one of the favorites. Don't you love this sport? Rags to riches stories. A sport built on hopes and dreams. I think that was something that Sean Clancy coined on one of our race broadcasts we did years ago, and he's 100% right. This sport is built on hopes and dreams. The dream that Rich Strike, who was a nobody coming into the Kentucky Derby, an 80-1 upsetter, could go on and be the 3-year-old champion this year. That's what this game's all about, man. That's why you're in this sport. For moments like this, for horses like this that come around once in a lifetime. I'm going to talk more about that topic with Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin coming up 10:30 Eastern. I ask, they answer. I'll get their thoughts on if a victory in the Travers by Rich Strike is enough to make the Derby winner the 3-year-old champion, or at least make him a strong contender. I'll ask their opinion 10:30 Eastern, along with a variety of other topics. And after what we saw last weekend in the Alabama, I think all of those horses I just mentioned should be pretty happy that they don't have to deal with Nest in this race today. There was talk that she may skip the Alabama, go in the Travers. She has developed into an absolute beast. And coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to be joined by her co-owner, Mike Repole, to look back on his magical ride here in 2022. Nest has been a huge part of that. We'll talk to Mike at 9 Eastern. So here's the show lineup for you here this morning. Coming up after this first break, in about 5 minutes from right now, you're going to hear from trainer Brad Cox, who is set to saddle Cyberknife. He's the defending champion on the trainer side in this year's Travers. As a matter of fact, he's the only trainer in the field to have ever won the Travers before. You remember that came with Essential Quality last year. Does that streak remain intact after today's race? We'll find out, but he'll be here in just about 5 minutes to talk to me about Cyberknife. Tim Wilkin going to join me. You hear from him Every week during I Ask, They Answer, he has been at Saratoga all meet. He has all the storylines, and it would not be a Travers morning show without visiting with my good friend Tim Wilkin. So that comes up at 8:35. 9 o'clock is Mike Repole. 9:20, Jockey Jose Ortiz is going to be here. He'll pilot Preakness winner early voting in the Travers later today. Looking forward to that visit. He's loaded with several top mounts on the program at Saratoga today, so I'll talk to him about all of those at 9:20. 9:40, we're switching things up a little bit. Typically, hour 3 begins with the TwinSpires Triple Play. This week, we're shifting it around, but for good reason. So 9:40, your TwinSpires Triple Play. I'll be joined by Vance Hanson from BRIS and TwinSpires to give you 3 races to keep an eye on this weekend. And at 10 o'clock, the reason we had to shift things around, at 10 o'clock, Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott will be with us. And Bill is set to saddle Longshot Gilded Age in the Travers, but he also has Channel Maker in the Sword Dancer. He won that race in 2020, if you recall. And Speaker's Corner, who is the morning line favorite in the Grade 1 Pat O'Brien, a win and you're in out of Del Mar later today. So I'll talk to Bill about those horses and much, much more. I'm also going to ask him about giving a leg up to Johnny V on Thursday for his milestone 1,000th Saratoga victory. That was really special, and it came aboard a Bill Mott trainee. I'll talk to Bill at 10 Eastern. 10:20, Kurt Becker takes you on his weekly stroll through racing history, and at 10:30, it is I Ask, They Answer with trainer Dale Romans and turf writer Tim Wilkin. All right, poll question for you here this morning. Rather than asking you who's going to win the Travers, who's going to win the Pat O'Brien, I thought we'd do it just a little bit differently, but it's still multiple choice. Which morning line favorite is most likely to get upset later today? Which morning line favorite is most likely to get upset later today? Epicenter in the Travers, Clairiere in the Personal Ensign, Jack Christopher in the Alan Jerkins, or Speaker's Corner in the Pat O'Brien. They are all prohibitive morning line favorites. Which of those 4 is most likely to go down in defeat later today? Epicenter, Clairiere, Jack Christopher, Speaker's Corner. You can let me know your thoughts at HRRN on Twitter, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook, or if you don't do social media, email me and let me know your thoughts. Mike at horseracingradio.net. That's the way to email the show. Mike at horseracingradio.net. All right, so it is a huge program. The stars are out in force over the next 3 hours here on the Equine Forum. It all begins with Brad Cox right after this. It's the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Horsemen, handicappers, and racing fans won't want to miss a single day of the 7-day FanDuel meet at Kentucky Downs in early September. Thanks to the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund, registered Kentucky breds will run for $150,000 in maiden races, with allowance races starting at $160,000. With 17 stakes totaling $10.7 million, you are not going to want to miss a day. Reserved seats on sale at KentuckyDowns.com. There's Unique, and then there's Kentucky Downs.
The thrill of world-class racing continues at Toronto's Woodbine Racetrack. Kick off the weekend's action with Twilight Racing each Thursday evening at 4:50 p.m., followed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday programs beginning at 1 p.m. Don't miss the build towards 3 Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Winning You're In races on Saturday, September 17th with the Woodbine Mile, Natama Stakes, and Summer Stakes. Plus, enjoy the best turf racing around with daily action over the famed E.P. Taylor Turf Course. For wagering updates, handicapping tips, racing news, and more, visit woodbine.com.
Learn the business of horses in the world's only accredited equine business program, the University of Louisville Equine Business Program. The University of Louisville has a legacy of excellence educating and developing industry leaders for over 35 years. Classes are taught by industry experts in state-of-the-art facilities located in the heartland of America's equine industry. The University of Louisville Equine Business Program. When it comes to horses, we mean business. For more information, visit business.louisville.edu/equine.
The Royal Palm Meet is just heating up with summer thoroughbred racing at Gulfstream Park. Join us Friday through Sunday for heart-pounding racing excitement and delectable hospitality. Enjoy the races outdoors at our new Carousel Club, or cool off in a private suite, or our trackside restaurant, 10 Palms. For stake schedules, reservations, and ticketing, head to GulfstreamPark.com.
Hi, this is Jockey John Court. You're listening to the Horse Racing Radio Network.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
A big run from Howling Time with a 3-wide bid at the quarter pole. At the rail, Benevengo, just behind them, Cyberknife, and then Taba. They turn for home. It's Jack Christopher in front. Howling Time. Taba switches to the outside, and he's now putting in a strong bid. And here comes Taba. Taba in the center of the track with good-looking stride, squares off with Cyberknife. Cyberknife takes the lead. Taba going with him. These two in a thriller. Cyberknife just in front, and Cyberknife has won the TVG.com Haskell over Taba. Jack Christopher finished third, and Howling Time was fourth. The running time 1 minute 46.24 seconds.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on this Saturday morning. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch. Happy to have you back in the starting gate with me as Frank Miramati brought him home in the Grade 1 Haskell. Cyberknife holding off a very game Taba, and that was a great stretch run. Cyberknife back for trainer Brad Cox in today's Travers Stakes, post time 5:44 Eastern. It is race 11 on the 13-race program. He will break from post number 1, and as I alluded to in my opening comments of the show in the previous segment, Cyberknife, the only runner in the Travers field to own 2 Grade 1 victories this year. The only one. Matter of fact, the only one to own 2 Grade 1 victories in his career. That puts him in the driver's seat for what I consider to be a run at a 3-year-old championship. We'll see if Brad Cox agrees. He is the defending champion on the trainer side of things after saddling Essential Quality to win the Travers last year, and he is with me now. Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, always appreciate the visit. I know you're busy on these big mornings. Cyberknife, I said that he is quietly the leader in this division right now with those 2 Grade 1 victories. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think I would agree right now, given the fact he's, 2 Grade 1 wins under his belt. And, like you said earlier, I think the division is going to find itself a leader later today after the Travers.
Yeah. He was beaten 42 lengths by Rich Strike in the Kentucky Derby. He hasn't lost since. He won the Matt Winn and then the Haskell. It seems to me like all that did was just tick him off a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, Florent did a good job of, once he knew he wasn't going to receive a placing in the race, just kind of wrap up on him and take care of him, and on to the next race, and that happened to be the Matt Winn, and he's thrived ever since. So looking forward to the challenge later today.
He was good going into the Kentucky Derby, really good, dominating the Arkansas Derby. Have you noticed anything different about him after the Kentucky Derby? A little chip on his shoulder, maybe?
Well, I think he's improved physically and mentally, probably more mentally than anything. He is a high-strung colt and has a little bit of a wild side, but, I think he's been able to channel that a little bit more and control himself since the Derby, and he's really, moved forward mentally. So, I think he's a horse that just, obviously it took him 3 starts to break his maiden. So we've always felt like the talent's there to be a Grade 1 horse. It was just getting him to do it in the afternoons and focusing. And he's, I made the decision once to try him in blinkers off of a victory, and that obviously didn't work well in the Lecomte. But, he's been a horse that it's not always been just straightforward with him. There's been some curvy roads with him, but I think he's getting there. And, he obviously proved that he's a true Grade 1 horse. And it would be awesome to cap it off later today with a Travers victory.
Those last 2 wins in the Matt Winn and the Haskell, they didn't come easy. He had to fight. He had to grind it out. He won the Matt Winn by a nose over Howling Time. He came back and defeated Taba, as we just heard in the call, by just a head in the Haskell. Does that do something for a horse, Brad, to know that you have a horse that if it does get close at the end, this horse is going to fight? Does that do something for you and for the horse?
Yeah, for sure. It gives you confidence that, when you get into a battle, that, he is one that can continue on and keep going and doesn't shy away from a fight. So it totally gives you confidence at the 8th pole. And listen, I'm hopeful later today that we're it's not going to be an easy race. So he's going to have to show some fight and determination, and hopefully he can pull it out.
Yeah, I said this, going back to my opening remarks, I said that the 3-year-old championship very well might be on the line in the Travers later today, because you look at all the stars that are there. You have, other than, say, Taba, you have the who's who in this division. Mo Donegal is sitting things out for the rest of the year. But other than that, this is a loaded field.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from top to bottom, it's a good group. You got the Derby winner. I mean, top 3 finishers of the Kentucky Derby, and it's just a good group. Preakness winner. So, I mean, it's a very, very good group. It's maybe not the size of the Kentucky Derby field, but the quality of a Kentucky Derby field, to say the least.
How cool is this, Brad? Dave Grenning from the Daily Racing Form tweeted this out earlier this week, and it's kind of neat to see. You look through and you see some of the other trainers in this Travers field, and you see the all-time leading trainer in the history of racing, Steve Asmussen. You see Chad Brown. You see Bill Mott. And then you see your name up there. You're the only one in this field with a Travers win.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I hope later today you could tweet out that we've got number 2 and 4 on has his first. So that'd be even better.
Last year was special, too. It was essential quality. Spend just a minute or two looking back on that day last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a tremendous day all around. I mean, he's, a horse that had performed well in the Jim Dandy, so we knew he liked the track. But, it was a great run between he and Midnight Bourbon. And, we were fortunate to come out on the right end of it. And it was just, a tremendous day. And there's nothing like Saratoga. Anyone that's a racing fan that's never been here definitely needs to make a trip or a weekend out of it, because it's just nothing like it. And just the fans make it so special, and just it's basically Disney World for horsemen. So it's an unbelievable feel to win a race like that on this type of stage.
Cyberknife is not the only star you have in your stable again this year. You're always loaded. She Dares the Devil comes to mind. Give me an update on some of the other horses from the Brad Cox barn that we should keep an eye on heading into the Breeders' Cup.
Well, She Dares the Devil's doing well. We're probably looking at running her in the Spinster at Keeneland, give her a run over the track for the Breeders' Cup. Hopefully we can get her there in good order. Mandaloon's back training. I'm not sure where we're going to land with him in his next start, but he is doing well out of the race in California as well. And, we've got a bunch of 2-year-olds that we're hoping can maybe, show up in the Breeders' Cup. That, Jace's Road's a good colt that broke his maiden at Ellis that'll start back in the Iroquois. So, we're, we don't have anything, chiseled in stone for the Breeders' Cup yet. Obviously, Cyberknife, is on the radar. So, hopefully we can, some of our babies can jump up and we can be effective. We also have Lady Rocket in the Ballerina tomorrow. We're excited about giving her a chance. And, if she performs well, we could look at the filly mare sprint with her.
Yeah. Does Cyberknife go right to facing older horses after this? There aren't a whole lot of straight 3-year-old opportunities after the Travers.
No, there's not. There's the PA Derby, and then you could just train up to the Breeders' Cup if that's what you choose to do. We did it last year. I thought it was we did it with Essential after the Travers, just trained up to the Breeders' Cup in California. I thought it went well. He just and he ran a great race, just probably not enough pace in there for him to get there. But he performed well, and I didn't feel like we run a short horse. So, it's always you could always train up as well.
Brad, I know it's a busy day. I'll let you go. Really appreciate a few minutes here this morning. Good luck in the Travers, and let's go get 2 in a row.
Sounds good, Mike. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, Brad Cox, champion trainer, does a fantastic job. And Cyberknife, the only multiple Grade 1 winner in the field. I keep pointing that out. I think it's important to keep that in mind because we haven't heard Cyberknife's name talked about when it comes to the 3-year-old championship at the end of the season. And based on those 2 Grade 1s, I know he threw in a clunker in the Kentucky Derby. Other than that, what else has he done wrong? Yeah, it's interesting. You go back and you look at his form here in 2022. He debuted in the Grade 3 Lecomte at the Fairgrounds in January. Clunker. Finished 6th that day. It was a head-scratcher. Brad said they couldn't quite figure out what went wrong. We're just going to bring him right back. So they bring him back in an allowance race, give him a confidence race. He wins that one by 3. Then he crushes the field in the Arkansas Derby, wins that one almost by 3 lengths before a clunker in the Kentucky Derby. And then he comes back and runs his eyeballs out in the Matt Winn and the Haskell. So he's won 4 out of his last 5. He's won 4 out of 6 here in 2022. And if his pattern holds true, Lecomte Stakes, 2 wins, clunker in the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby, 2 wins. Well, let's hope it's not a clunker in the Travers Stakes. He does have the inside post, but let's face it, 1.25 miles, long stretch run before they get to the first turn. He's going to have plenty of time to get himself into a position where he needs to be. And he's versatile. Cyberknife can be anywhere Florent Geroux needs him to be. He has wins when he is sat close to the pace. He has wins like in the Haskell where he was a little further back. And he had to wait a little bit. Showed a lot of maturity and then make his move. So we'll see. But that is a really good race. As I mentioned, other than maybe Taba, you really have the top 3-year-olds in this division. And again, Mo Donegal, who is sitting the rest of the year out. Going to be interesting to see if Zandon can find a way to finally get past Epicenter later today. Hasn't been able to do it in 3 tries. We'll see if early voting can carry his speed the 1.25 miles. He carried it the 1 3/16 in the Preakness, although it did look like he was getting a little leg weary when he drifted at the end of that race. But even so, he was able to hold off Epicenter that day. And we know Epicenter's really, really good. I said maybe the most consistent horse in this 3-year-old crop. But he's yet to break through in a Grade 1. Maybe today is the day for Epicenter. He'll be 7-5 under Joel Rosario. 7-5 on the morning line. Probably going to go off as right around that mark, 8-5 maybe. Steve Asmussen, the trainer, looking for his first Travers victory. That's a little bit mind-boggling, too. We talk about that going into the Kentucky Derby. How is it that Steve Asmussen has never won the Kentucky Derby? He's brought a lot of good horses in there. Just hasn't happened. And it shows you how difficult that race is to win. The sport's all-time leading trainer in number of wins has yet to break through in the Kentucky Derby. Has yet to break through in the Travers, too. Again, maybe today is the day for Steve Asmussen and for Epicenter to pick up that big win. All right, coming up next, Tim Wilkin is going to continue to talk more Travers. We'll talk about the rest of the program, too. You have Champion Latruska on that card later today. You have the Sword Dancer, which is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Turf. You have a great showdown between Gufo, the winner from last year for Christophe Clement, and Channel Maker, the 2020 winner for Bill Mott. That Sword Dancer is a really good race. And one of the questions I'm going to ask Dale and Tim when they join me I won't ask Tim for this upcoming segment because I want to save it for I Ask, They Answer at 10:30. But I'm going to ask them to weigh in on whether Channel Maker or Gufo will be the horse. One of those horses will be standing in the winner's circle after the Sword Dancer later today. I mean, you've got the last 2 winners of the race, right? And horses for courses, they both like Saratoga. Will it be one of those 2, or is it somebody else? We'll talk to them about that at 10:30. But I'll talk to Tim about all things Travers. We'll talk about the undercard and what he has seen from so many of the horses that are competing on this program today. He has been at Saratoga throughout the entire meet. Going to be a fun interview coming up next. But first, it is time for your Legends of the Turf, and then Tim Wilkin.
The adage that all good things are worth waiting for was never better illustrated than when Alfred G. Vanderbilt's mare Geisha dropped her 1-month overdue foal on March 27, 1950. The newly arrived gray colt was by 1945 Preakness winner Polynesian, and most fittingly was bemonikered Native Dancer. In an absolutely brilliant career, he won 20 of 22 races. He was endeared by the American public and affectionately referred to him as the Dancer or the Gray Ghost. Huge crowds surrounding the paddock when he raced, transfixed by the combination of a majestic bearing, icy calmness that he displayed before his races, and they rushed down to the rail to catch a glimpse of Native Dancer charging down the stretch to victory from way behind, eating up huge chunks of ground with his 29-foot stride. Native Dancer's reputation preceded him in his very first outing in April of his 2-year-old season. He was sent posted a 7-5 favorite and sprinted off to a 4.5 length win and breaking his maiden. A bare 4 days later, he came back to roar to victory in the youthful stakes at odds of 4-5. Never in all the rest of his days on the racetrack did he ever go up at odds any higher. He suffered a shin injury in the youthful, but he returned to the races in superb form 4 months later at Saratoga in August. He found himself in the winner's circle in the next 7 races in a row, the highlight of that streak being equaling of the world record for 6.5 furlongs in the running of the Belmont Futurity. Ankle problems delayed his first start in his sophomore season until April at Aqueduct in the Gotham Stakes 2 weeks before the Derby. He won the Gotham by 2 and romped home in the Wood Memorial by 4.5 to thereby establish himself as the overwhelming favorite in the run for the Roses. But that early May Day in 1953 was not to be his day, and the chart of that Derby tells the story. Chart caller's comment read like this: Native Dancer, roughed at the first turn by Money Broker, was eased back to secure racing room, raced wide in the run to the upper turn, saved ground entering the stretch and finished strongly, but could not overtake the winner, although probably the best. Unquote. Rider Eric Guerin blamed the roughing at the clubhouse turn for the loss. Others pointed to the suspiciously large ankles of Native Dancer. At any rate, all observers agreed that in one more stride, Dark Star's victory by a head would have been instead another victory for the Dancer. After 3 hard races in 3 weeks, conditioner Bill Winfrey may well have expected to give his spectacular gray charger respite from the racing wars, but the Dancer was shipped to New York, where he won the Withers, and on the very next weekend he was on hand in Baltimore to nail down the Preakness. That was 5 wins in 5 consecutive weekends. Well, he finally got a break before galloping off to score in the Belmont Stakes and followed that with 4 more consecutive wins. Soreness in his left forefoot prevented him from meeting the 4-year-old sensation Tom Fool in the prestigious fall handicaps, and as a result, Tom Fool was named Horse of the Year. Native Dancer continued having physical problems as a 4-year-old, going posted only 3 times, but he did win all 3. He scored in the Metropolitan and Oneonta handicaps, packing 137 pounds in the latter. They were so impressive, he was finally accorded unanimous Horse of the Year honors in 1954. Through his bloodline, Native Dancer was responsible for a raft of outstanding thoroughbreds: Kauai King, Majestic Prince, Raisin Native, Coastal, Affirmed, Exclusive Native, Genuine Risk, Ruffian, and one of the world's all-time influential sires, Northern Dancer. That, my friends, is the story of the Gray Ghost, truly a legend in thoroughbred racing.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up, and if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Live racing returns at Colonial Downs, presented by Woodford Reserve. July 11th through September 7th. Racing every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, starting at 1:45 Eastern, with $625,000 daily average purses. And you won't want to miss the Grade 3 $300,000 Virginia Derby on Tuesday, September 6th, along with 4 other stake races to be run on the Colonial Downs Secretariat Turf Course. For more information, visit colonialdowns.com. Colonial Downs, more days and more money.
Hey everyone, it's the Baron with this week's North of the Border Report presented by Woodbine Entertainment. Well, in case you missed it, while Nest was busy cementing her case for the top 3-year-old filly in the U.S., 3-year-old Canadian-bred filly Moira was once again masterful in victory, trouncing her 10 rivals to the tune of a 7-length triumph in the 163rd running of the $1 million Queen's Plate last Sunday at Woodbine. Owned by X-Men Racing, Madikit Stables, and SF Racing, and trained by Kevin Attard, the Bay, under jockey Rafael Hernandez, was at the top of her game, posting a track and plate record time of 2:01.48 in one of the most impressive plate performances ever. Woodbine announcer Robert Geller had the call.
And here comes the filly, Moira, and she's exploding down the outside, and in the blink of an eye has raced to the front, and it's Moira out in a lead 2 lengths, racing home his Hall of Dreams down the outside. But the mighty filly has devastated them, and the 163rd Queen's Plate is a big win for Moira. She is stunning, wins 6 lengths.
With the win, Moira, bred by Adena Springs, became the 8th filly to notch the Oaks Plate double, joining such greats as Dance Smartly, Flaming Page, Holy Helena, Inglorious, and Lexi Lou. The Prince of Wales Stakes on dirt at Fort Erie on September 13th is the next race in the Tri-Surface Canadian Triple Crown Series, which concludes with the Breeder Stakes at 1.5 miles over Woodbine's E.P. Taylor Turf Course on October 2nd. Wando in 2003 was the last horse to sweep the series and the 7th since its inception in 1959. Moira certainly has the look of number 8. And that's your North of the Border report for this Saturday morning. For more updates and racing information, visit Woodbine.com or follow along on Twitter and Instagram at Woodbine TV.
This is Eddie Delahousie. You're listening to the Horse Racing Radio Network.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Sandon being asked for more on the outside. 3/4 went in 1:12-1, and they're at the top of the stretch. And it is early voting, challenged here by Sandon on the outside. Tawny Port is next, and Epicenter's out in the middle of the track. And now there's an 1/8 of a mile to the finish, and Epicenter is coming on now. And Tawny Port is rallying down at the rail. Here is Epicenter, and he's the center of attention now. Epicenter comes from off the pace to win the Jim Dandy Stakes, and he did it in 1 minute, 48 and 4/5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Mike Penna with you on this Saturday morning. That was John Embriel with the call of the Jim Dandy last month at the Spa, Epicenter, proving that he is a legitimate favorite for this afternoon's Travers Stakes, but yet to win a Grade 1 in his career. He's been close, but he's yet to break through. Maybe today is the day for Epicenter. He will be the favorite in that running of the Travers later this afternoon. Tim Wilkin, it would not be a Travers morning program without Tim Wilkin here on the show. He's been doing it since he was with the Albany Times-Union every single year. And, boy, Timmy, it is an absolute delight to get a chance to catch up with you, especially on a Travers Day.
Well, it's like a tradition like none other, right? Even though I'm not with the Times-Union anymore, I still work for the Blood Horse, Little Horse Racing Nation. I'm keeping my hand in it. After this meet's over, I'll be going to Kentucky Downs, and I'll go to Parks and maybe the Breeders' Cup. So I'm going to stay pretty busy until they kick me out.
Let's not forget about that gig you got with Romans, too, at 10:30 every Saturday morning.
I was going to wait for you to bring that up because I feel a little naked without Dale here, my co-pilot. It's weird being not here with Dale. I mean, I will be in a little while, but, usually I'm his co-pilot or he's the co-pilot or whatever it is. But, that's been a lot of fun since we started doing that. It's almost a year already. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is. It is really hard to believe. We launched that segment last September, I guess, right after Saratoga, and it's become one of the more popular segments on the Equine Forum every Saturday. And I can't thank you and Dale enough for all your help with that segment. I know people really enjoy it. We get a chance to debate so many of the hot topics. I'll give you one right now. Between you and I, Epicenter is the likely favorite. He's 7-5 on the morning line in the Travers today. Does Epicenter have to win this race if he has any thoughts of being 3-year-old champion?
I think that's a heavy yes for me. I mean, he's got to get that Grade 1 on his resume. I mean, he's run, lights out races, second Derby, second the Preakness. He won the Jim Dandy. I mean, stamping himself as the legitimate favorite, but, he still has things he's got to do. I mean, I think after today's race, after the Travers today, I think we're going to have a more concrete idea of who the leader in the clubhouse is.
Yeah.
I mean, if Epicenter wins, I think, yes, he's going to be the leader in the division. I mean, if Rich Strike were to win, the Kentucky Derby and the Travers, that's a pretty darn good resume too. So early voting, a Preakness winner, if he were to win. I mean, Zandon, if he wins, I mean, does he throw himself into the middle mix of this thing? I think he does. So, the Travers is going to carry a lot of weight, and it's a really good race too. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's a really good renewal. You've got all the major players in this division, with the exception of Mo Donegal and maybe Taba, who is not here. Other than that, you have all the significant 3-year-olds that we've seen throughout the year. Do you think Epicenter wins it, Timmy?
Oh boy, it's a question I've been asked more than once this week, and I would always keep saying I don't know yet, because let's wait till we get to race day. Now here we are at race day, and I'm going to make a stand against. He's definitely the horse to beat. There's no question about that. But I'm not going to take 7. I'm not going to go 7-5. I want to try to get a value play in here, and that's where I think I'm going to land on Zandon, one of the 3 Chad Brown horses in here, who is. He went into the Kentucky Derby with some great hype after winning the Bluegrass, and the Jim Dandy, he ran an okay second, and that was his first race since the Derby. I think that's going to benefit him greatly heading into this race. I've been a Zandon fan ever since the Risen Star, going back to that, and I think he might show up in a big way today.
Yeah. He's 0 for 3 against Epicenter in his career, but maybe today he has the look of a horse that's sitting on a big race, coming out of that runner-up effort in the Jim Dandy behind the aforementioned Epicenter. He certainly looks like it. This will be his second start off of the layoff. He does look like he can turn the tables, at least on paper anyway.
That's why this field is so intriguing, because really you can make a case for just really almost all of them. Okay, maybe I won't make a case for Gilded Age. Maybe I won't make it. I mean, I'm not ready to throw out Ain't Life Grand. He's looked really good up here. And what do you do with the Derby winner? It's, if he runs his Derby race, obviously but will he run that race? I don't know. But, there were so many people that got off his bandwagon, maybe even after the Derby, but they were definitely people jumping off like rats off the Titanic after after the Belmont, and I guess rightfully so. But he's trained well up here, and it would be a good story for the sport, a good story nationally. People that don't follow the sport, if this horse that won the Derby at 81 runs a big race here in the Travers, do I think he can win? I don't think he can win, but I think he's eligible to hit the board.
Yeah. The newcomer, and in my opinion, the wild card in the Travers, if you will, is Artorias, one of the Chad Brown trainees. He's a son of Arrowgate, who ran the fastest Travers in history. He only has 3 lifetime starts. This will be his first start in a graded stake. It's a huge step up from that win in the Keeneland last time out. What do you think, Artorias? Does he have a puncher's chance?
I was sitting in Chad Brown's office before the meet started, a week before the meet started. Mm-hmm. And, I had never even heard of Artorias. And he said, we were talking about Travers horses, and he mentioned the usual suspects, the Zandons, the early voting, and at the time, Jack Christopher. But he said, I got this other horse named Artorias who I really, really like. He said at that point, he said, I'm not going to say he's going to come out here and win the Travers. He said, I'm pointing him to the Keeneland. If he runs well in the Keeneland, which he did, he's going to have another horse in line for the Travers. And he has been high on this horse for a long time. Yes, it's a big ask for him to go from the Keeneland to the Grade 1 Travers. But, people do remember what Arrogate did here. And Arrogate won the Travers. He was 11-1. I mean, Arturius is not going to be 11-1. He's going to be, I don't know, 9-2, 5-1 maybe. But I think he is a horse that leave him off your tickets at your own risk, because I think that he's got so much upside, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him win. But it's also a big ask. But this horse looks like he's got a lot of talent.
Timmy, coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to be joined by Mike Repole to look back on that performance by Nest last week in the Alabama, and then even what she did in dominating the Coaching Club American Oaks. I said earlier that everyone in this Travers field should be grateful they don't have to square off with her later today.
Sure.
Do you agree?
Well, if they had to square off with her, that she'd be coming back on a week's rest.
Okay, let's assume she skipped the Alabama.
Yes, right. And first of all, too, if you're having Mike Repole on, I hope you got an hour for him, because he is a walking, talking man, boy. He loves to talk, and you can tell him I said that. But I expect him that, when Dale and I are supposed to go on at 11:30, we might not get on till 4.
Yeah,
because no. But Nest is a lot of people think Nest is the best 3-year-old period right now, and what she has done is, she did it so effortlessly in the Coaching Club American Oaks, and she did it effortlessly in the Alabama. And they, for a brief, fleeting second, they were thinking after the Coaching Club Oaks, Todd Pletcher and Repole, they were thinking briefly about trying the boys in the Travers. But then I think they made the right decision by going to the Alabama. And, this horse, Todd said after her effort in the Belmont, he said this horse came out of that race better than any horse he's ever had that's been in the Belmont, which is saying something. I mean, this horse just does not get tired. And it'll be really interesting to see what they do with her going forward. Todd is probably run her one more time before the Breeders' Cup, but I would think he'd go into the distaff. I would think. But wouldn't it be quite the story if they decided, hey, let's go try the boys in the Classic, because this horse is a monster.
Yeah, she really is. And she has gotten better and better. I think she's better now than she was in the spring when she went into the Kentucky Oaks. Don't you agree?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
And she, I believe she was the favorite in the Oaks, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And got beat by Secret Oath, who at the time was at the top of her game. And, Secret Oath didn't run a bad race at all in the Alabama to get second. It's just that Nest was just so much better. And it's scary to think of how much better she might get before this year's out. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch to see how she progresses.
Visiting with turf writer Tim Wilkin here on the Horse Racing Radio Network, the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Tim will be back at 10:30 Eastern with Dale Romans for this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. Looking forward to that. It should be a lot of fun. So let's. I'm going to ask you one other question, because we're going to get into some of these specifics in that segment with Dale. So I don't want to steal all the thunder from that segment at 10:30. But I do want to ask you about another horse or two that you're looking forward to seeing on the undercard. And when I say undercard, Tim, that's a relative term today, because you have all those grade ones leading up to the Travers. What other horses are you looking forward to watching?
Well, there's a whole bunch of them I'm looking forward to see. But just briefly, I mean, how could you not want to see Latruska run? I mean, after that, when she was down in New York for the Phipps, she wasn't herself. I guess she was sick and did not run a race at all, did not show up. And I saw her the last couple of days up here at Saratoga, and she looks phenomenal. And the fact that she's in this race, and it's a small but very quality field of going against the likes of Malathaat, Clairiere. This is a very good race, but I think Latruska gets back on track in this race. I can't wait to see her run. I mean, Jack Christopher in the King's Bishop, the Alan Jerkins, that, this is maybe the best sprinter around. And Chad Brown, after the Haskell decided that he wanted to cut back with Jack, and, it's not an easy spot by any stretch of the imagination, But if Jack Christopher is Jack Christopher, I think he could put on a show here. I remember what he did down in New York when he won by 10 lengths. It's a very, very, very dangerous sprinter. And, Jackie's Warrior. I mean, that's how good is this horse? What he's done for Steve Asmussen.
Yeah.
There's just so many. I mean, Jackie's Warrior's already placed himself in the Saratoga history books. Won a Grade 1 3 straight years. When does that ever happen? It never happened. This is a phenomenal horse, a phenomenal sprinter. The only time he has trouble is when he goes to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
Everything else he wins. So, I would say Jackie's Warrior, Latruska, Jack Christopher horses I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, Jackie's Warrior is just a beast. I know that they have their sights set on Breeders' Cup Sprint with Jackie's Warrior, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a horse that's been so dominant. It's hard to see anybody being in his league right now, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't see how anybody can. This horse, I would think if there's one horse that you're going to think that is a lock, a mortal lock, as Andy Beyer used to say, it might be this one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would agree. He's simply fantastic, and should be a wonderful afternoon at the spa. I know the weather is supposed to be simply perfect. Temperatures hovering right around 80 degrees, plenty of sunshine, and going to be a great Travers day as always. And it's always a great Travers morning show when my good friend Tim Wilkin is with me. And Timmy, I can't thank you enough for the conversation here, and really looking forward to coming back at 10:30 with I Ask, They Answer with you and Dale.
Yep, I'm looking forward to that today as well. I talked to Dale about it yesterday, and he said he's going to be geared up for this one.
We love when Dale gets geared up.
When Dale's geared up, put on the seatbelts, and
we'll have a howling
and
good time.
And we'll get ready for the wild ride.
There's Tim Wilkin. Timmy, appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Sounds good, Mike. Thank you.
All right, Tim Wilkin here on Travers Morning. And, Dale represented by Howling Time later today as well, and that H. Allen Jerkins. That should be fun, too. All right, when I come back, I'll get you ready for the second hour of the program. It is loaded. It includes some very big names in the sport of thoroughbred racing. I'll tell you about it when I return. It's the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, Matthew.
There's a reason why Tony's Steaks and Seafood is my favorite restaurant. It's because I want to feel part of the family. Isn't that right, Tony?
That's right. There's a saying on the wall that I truly believe in. There's always room for one more at our table. We just want you to be part of our family.
And believe me, you will be. It's Tony's Steaks and Seafood right across from Triangle Park. Visit them at TonySteaksandSeafood.com.
Woodford Feed, where tradition merges with technology. Family owned since 1940 and providing exceptional customer service, Woodford Feed specializes in the highest quality feed, using only the finest ingredients to ensure optimal nutrition for your horses. In addition, Woodford Feed can help with all your farm needs, including field seed, fertilizer, and weed control. So whether your horse is sprinting around the racetrack or has a foal by her side, count on Woodford Feed to provide the quality nutrition necessary to perform at the highest level. Woodford Feed, Versailles, Kentucky.
Have you heard the news about this year's Claiming Crown? The Breeders' Cup for claiming owners is moving to historic Churchill Downs for 2022, and it all takes place Saturday, November 12th beneath the iconic TwinSpires. 8 races, over $1 million in purses, plus KTDF funds for eligible horses. Requests for eligibility are due October 22nd. Don't miss your chance to participate in this year's Claiming Crown at Churchill Downs, Saturday, November 12th. Learn more at nationalhbpa.com.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
Hey, this is Bobby Newman. Join Dave Friedman and me on Tuesday, September 6th for our exclusive coverage of the Grade 3 Virginia Derby. Tune in beginning at 4:30 p.m. Eastern as we bring you Colonial's premier race along with great action from the undercard. It's the Virginia Derby on HRRN. Tune in on Sirius 216, XM 204, or streaming live at horseracingradio.net.
Hello, this is Bill Mott. You're listening to Horse Racing Radio Network.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And now they're coming for the quarter pole. It's We the People, Skippy Longstocking. They've been 1-2 right from the start. Nest is in behind. Mo Donegal now makes his move on the outside. Here comes Mo Donegal up to challenge for the lead. And it is Mo Donegal, the Wood winner, who has taken over with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. It's Mo Donegal in front. Nest has moved into second. Mo Donegal drifting out a bit, but in front and clear. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes. Mo Donegal and HRRN Ortiz Jr. Nest was second, so it's Todd Pletcher, 1-2 in the 2022 Belmont Stakes.
Once again, John Embriel. Mo Donegal passing that test with flying colors earlier this season. Unfortunately, he is out with a bone bruise for the remainder of the season. Won't be able to make the Breeders' Cup or any other big race leading up to the fall. We'll see him hopefully next year and bigger and better and stronger than ever. I'm going to talk to his co-owner, Mike Repole, coming up in just a few minutes, 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll also look back on the ride that he has been on along with co-owner Aaron Wellman with Nest earlier this year. It's and recently, for that matter, dominating the Alabama last weekend as in true Nest fashion. She has really developed into a beast, and I'll visit with Mike Repole here in a few minutes. Jose Ortiz follows Mike. He'll be with me right around 9:20 Eastern time, and then Vance Hanson from TwinSpires and BRIS is going to bring you your TwinSpires Triple play at 9:40. That's a bit earlier than we normally do that segment, but with good reason, because at 10 o'clock Eastern, Hall of Famer Bill Mott will stop by for a visit, and at 10:20, Kurt Becker takes you on his weekly stroll through racing history, and at 10:30, I Ask, They Answer with trainer Dale Romans and turf writer Tim Wilkin. Want to remind you that, obviously Travers weekend is now here, and wow, I mean, I've told you throughout the whole first hour, we are in for a colossal battle this year. Of course, we're looking forward to a Kentucky Derby rematch and, of course, the chance to win some money. So before placing your bet, be sure to stop by America's Best Racing to get expert insight on the field, along with the best wagers and some top picks. For the insider knowledge that you need to hit big, head to americasbestracing.net or click the link on our website and in today's show notes located on our podcast. And don't forget, you can access the podcast of this show and all of our programs by going to horseracingradio.net and, of course, every major podcast platform, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google Play, however you're getting your podcasts. Make sure you search for Horse Racing Radio Network and tune us in that way. Poll question today. Which morning line favorite is most likely to get upset later today? And I'll give you 4 choices. Epicenter in the Travers, Clairiere in the Personal Ensign, Jack Christopher in the Alan Jerkins, or Speaker's Corner in the Pat O'Brien. Those are the 4. Which one is most likely to get upset later today? I'll try to pass along those questions, the results of those questions later in the show before we wrap things up at 11 o'clock Eastern. You can go to @HRRN on Twitter, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook, and if you don't do social media, you can email your replies to me, your thoughts on that particular question. Email the show, mike@horseracingradio.net. One of the things that I'm going to talk to Bill Mott about when he joins me at 10 o'clock Eastern is what happened this past Thursday at Saratoga. Wasn't a graded stakes. Wasn't a Travers Day type of stakes race. But it was a good race, and it was a really good race for Hall of Famer John Velasquez. Saratoga's all-time leading jockey added yet another milestone to his brilliant career. On Thursday, Bill Mott gave him a leg up for his 1,000th victory at Saratoga. And if you followed this game for a long time and you've watched John Velasquez go through his career, you know he's one of the greatest riders of all time. But you'll also realize that he's one of the greatest people in the sport. And I couldn't be happier for Johnny and for his wife Leona and his entire family. It's been a family affair for Johnny. And, boy, what a moment for him. So congratulations to Johnny V. 1,000 victories at Saratoga. That coming on Thursday. And I'll talk to Bill Mott about that coming up at 10 Eastern. All right, when we come back, we kick off hour 2. I welcome Mike Repole to the program. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
The eyes of the racing world are focused on Saratoga and Del Mar, with 5 Grade 1 races highlighting today's card in upstate New York and the 153rd running of the Midsummer Derby topping the 13-race program. Jim Dandy winner Epicenter will look to take one step closer to a divisional championship, but will have to deal with 7 rivals, including Haskell winner Cyberknife and Kentucky Derby upsetter Rich Strike. The Travers is joined by the Forgo, Personal Ensign, Alan Jerkins Memorial, and Sword Dancer as Grade 1 races on the Saturday program. The Sword Dancer, a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup turf. At Del Mar, top sprinters are in the spotlight in the Grade 2 Pat O'Brien, with the winner punching their ticket to the Breeders' Cup Sprint. 2020 winner CZ Rocket squares off with Bing Crosby hero American Theorem and the always tough Get Her Number. And that's your Visit Barbados Racing Update, brought to you by Barbados Tourism. Learn more at visitbarbados.org.
If you've been waiting to discover that sweet spot where peace of mind meets the time of your life, then it sounds like you've been waiting on Barbados. You've been waiting to experience a meal that makes you book a flight to have it again. You've been waiting for adventure in the sun, from the majesty of horse racing and polo to the thrill of surfing our playful waves. From the moment you set foot on the island, you'll realize Barbados is exactly what you've been waiting for. Visit jetblue.com/Barbados for special vacation packages.
This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of a very busy, star-studded Saturday morning for you here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, happy to have you back with me. If you missed any portion of the first hour of the program, my conversation with trainer Brad Cox or with turf writer Tim Wilkin, all you have to do is head back to our website, horseracingradio.net, to check out the podcast. And, of course, you can do that on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google Play. However you get your podcasts, you can listen to us there at your leisure as well. Hour 2 kicks off with owner Mike Repole talking about Nest, looking back on his Belmont win with Mo Donegal. We'll talk about maybe some of his Breeders' Cup victories as well if we have enough time. Jose Ortiz will be with me at 9:20 and at 9:40, your TwinSpires Triple Play with Vance Hanson. But without further ado, we do welcome in Mike Repole. Mike, good morning, my friend.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You know, you and I have tried to connect ever since Mo Donegal crossed the finish line in the Belmont, and it's great to hear your voice. But let's start by looking back on what happened at Saratoga last weekend in that Alabama. You know, the Fox Sports coverage caught you in the grandstand with your family, and boy, when Nest was coming down the stretch, you could see, I mean, the enthusiasm, the passion you have for the sport. You're hugging everybody. Rightfully so. What a moment that was.
You know, Mike, I've been so blessed in some incredible moments here. And, you know, the one reason I got to horse racing was an opportunity to share it with friends and family. And, you know, I never realized, you know, from, you know, my parents to my wife to now my daughter who's only 7, and all my friends and family, how much fun, you know, you see the winning side, but even when we lose, Weekend with family is always special. Except on that weekend, everyone else is happy and I'm miserable. But getting everybody together is really nice. And it was a great race. And she had the 2 tough seconds, the Oaks and then the Belmont, and she really has become a star of stars at Saratoga. And she's a very, very special filly.
I said earlier in the show that the Travers field should be happy they don't have to deal with her later today. But I also think that Nest has developed into an even better filly than she was in the spring, if that's possible, because she was really good in the spring too.
Listen, anytime you buy a Curlin, they're late 3-year-old, even 4-year-old horses. We knew she would get better. So when she won her maiden as a 2-year-old and then she won the Remsen, you'd almost handicap that she's going to be better, as a late 3-year-old, 4-year-old. So, she had a great start. She won her first 2 races and then she got a second in the Oaks where, it was just a trip, a different trip. She could have won that. A different trip. She could have won the Belmont. So, I think the one thing that Todd, Aaron from Eclipse and I wanted to work on was, hey, let's get her, as close to the lead as possible. She doesn't have to be on the lead, obviously. I think the one thing we tell Ira is she can run 1 mile and 3/4. So we don't mind. We don't need to save ground. Keep her wide. Just don't have an excuse and get caught inside. And since the other 2 races, the Oaks and the Belmont, we've done that. She's been up earlier and she's been outside, and she won one race by 12.5 and another one by 5. So far so good.
Mike, you purchased Nest out of the Keeneland September sale from Ashview Farm, and it was a co-purchase with you and co-owner Aaron Wellman and Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. Was it a situation where when they brought her out and you looked at her for the first time, you just knew immediately? It was kind of like that wow moment?
For me, I have such a great team. Jake West does a lot of our sales, so he looks at everybody. We have Danielle Bricker, who looks at horses, then Jim Martin and Ed Rosen, my racing manager, general manager, and Todd is at that sales. I'll be honest with you. The last eyes I'm worried about on opinion is mine. I'm not there for that. That's not my job. So having those guys say, wow, wow, wow,
yep,
to me, that makes a big difference. In fact, we thought she was going to go for 5 to like 700. That was our budget. And when she went for 350, it was like, wow. We were very surprised. But, a lot of times in these sales, when you have 4,000 horses, certain horses fall through. And, if you get 2 people on a horse, the horse can sell for 800,000. If there's only 1 person on the horse can sell for 350. It happens like that every day.
You joked kind of tongue-in-cheek with Acacia Courtney after the race, after the Alabama, that you should wheel her back in 1 week because she looked like she had plenty left in the tank and bring her against the boys in the Travers. Do you think we'll see her against the boys sometime up the road?
Listen, for me, this was a very, and Aaron and Todd were all aligned. And my team, it was such an easy decision. She got beat in the Oaks by Secret Oath. She beat Secret Oath in the coaching club. Secret Oath was coming back. She's the best filly 3-year-old. But you know what? Hey, the track's changed from the first couple of weeks to now. It's kind of gotten a little faster. So, we wanted to have that rematch. It was a great race going in, and she beat him. So, for me, it was a no-brainer. We've already tried her against the boys. And the one thing Todd and I spoke about the other day was, being a Curlin, trying her in 1.5 miles, and she ran a great second. That definitely has made her stronger for this back half of the year. I asked Todd, he said, probably 10 or 15%, but when you're that good and you get 10% better, it's a big difference. And so now from everything from 1.5 miles, we're cutting her back, I guess. So that sounds pretty funny, but we really are. And she really has just grown up. So when you talk about the boys, listen, I've done it before. I'm not afraid to do it. And we did it at the Belmont, but do I think it's going to be boys this year? I'm going to say no. Do I think we know she's going to come back next year, hopefully if she stays healthy. And, listen, I think it's going to be fun. And, I don't think I'm that crazy to say it. It's going to sound crazy when I say it. I think she's going to be a better 4-year-old than a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting.
Mike Repole with me here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. All right, Mike, we are both Italian, and by nature, Italians are very superstitious people. I know I am. I don't want to look too far ahead, but if all goes according to plan, any thoughts on incorporating a little, I don't know, Edwin Diaz intro music as she comes into the paddock for the Breeders' Cup this fall?
You know, it's so funny. I wake my daughter up sometimes in the morning to the trumpet music. I did it today, so it's pretty funny that you said that. You know what? It's really, listen, they've been doing this for years, but now the Mets are winning, and Diaz is not blowing saves, so it's kind of gone viral and everyone's watching it. But that's it. It really is a great entry, and I actually think that would be a great idea, by the way. And except maybe instead of walking from the bullpen to the pitcher's mound, maybe walking from the gallop out to the winner's circle. That would be really, really cool. Great idea, by the way, Mike.
You know, I mean, they play my old Kentucky home as the horses come onto the track for the Kentucky Derby. It's New York for the Belmont. Why not? You know, why not a little intro music for the horses for the big races in the Breeders' Cup? That would be kind of cool.
You know what? There's a lot of things in racing that if me and you ran, we would do differently. So maybe we should talk offline because there's a lot of ways you can make it funner and get new fans and have them enjoy it. I mean, Saratoga. You know, I've been up there a lot of the meet. It's been the last 3 weeks have been great, 30, 40, 50,000, and it's been real special to see fans back and the enthusiasm. It's been a great meet, and you know, there's nothing like Saratoga, and you know, the Breeders' Cup this year in Lexington, Keeneland, that's going to be great, and you know, it's exciting. And this Travers is amazing tomorrow. It's a great field, probably one of the toughest Travers I've seen in a while, and I'm just watching it as a fan. So it's the first time I'm actually happy I'm not in it. I can enjoy it. And then even the Ogden Fairbanks. I mean, it's only 5 fillies, but look at those 5 fillies, right? I mean, you got some really exciting races, and it really gets you excited for to watch races Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
Yeah, I know you're excited to be able to watch it as a fan, but I know you'd also love to be able to walk over with Mo Donegal for that Travers Stakes later today. He was sidelined after winning the Belmont Stakes with some bone bruising. Hopefully we'll see him. If not later in the year, we'll get a chance to see him into next year. But he's the son of your champion, Uncle Mo. That was another day, Mike, that, I mean, you talk about a magical ride here in 2022. You finished 1-2 in the Belmont Stakes. For a New York kid, man, that's pretty cool.
You know, it was surreal, Mike. I mean, I've been in this game almost 40 years, first as a fan, 13-year-old kid, to watching horses, to going to Saratoga in my 30s and buying my first horse at 34, 35. I've been in the game as an owner for 12, 13 years. And, you know, the dream was just win a Belmont. And, you know, when I came in second with Stay Thirsty, you know, a lot of times when you come in second, like Nest just did in the Kentucky Oaks, you're like, man, you know what? That might have been the only chance or the best chance I'll ever have in my life of winning a race like that. And, you know, second is a huge accomplishment for 99.9% of the people. But for me, it's first or last. I mean, second is the place that hurts the most, by the way. If 2 horses beat you, you can live with it a lot more than if just 1 horse beats you. So, you know, for them, when people actually during the week, people say, hey, what about if you run first or second? And I told everybody, I want to run first and last. I don't really care. And then all of a sudden, you know, Mike, when you're watching a race and you're watching 2 horses, you know, they're sitting 3rd and 4th as they round the turn. And I'm just one of you, please get through. Just one of you, please get through. So when Mo Donegal takes the lead, I look at the finish line and I see how far that is. I come back to Mo Donegal and then I pan on to see who's in second. And I see the blue and orange again. And like I said, for that last furlong, I'm sitting there and kind of the world just stopped for a while. It's like, I'm going to win. I'm not sure which one's going to win, but I'm going to win. I'm going to be one of these horses in the winner's circle. And unfortunately, the other one's going to come in second. And you know what? It's sad what happened to Mo Donegal, but there's 2 things. Number one, he won my dream race. And whether he comes back next year or he's a stallion, he's going to have a great career, whether it's racing or a stallion, son of Uncle Mo, which is so special. And Nest has come back since that second, and look what she's done. So, you know, I'm blessed, Mike. I mean, you know, I've had ups and downs in racing, but I got to be honest with you. There's many people that just have downs in racing. So I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. You know what? When you win a race, you know, it could be a 25 claimer at Saratoga. It feels like a great one. And it reminds me of the 5 claimer at Aqueduct in 1985. So that I was winning as a $2 better. So it's been great. And, you know, I'm on a great journey. My family's going with me, and now taking my 7-year-old daughter, who's actually more passionate and intense than me, if that's possible. I don't know how that happened, but
wow.
And she, you know, she gets up there, and you know, when I won the Belmont, you know, I think I was trying to chill and just relax. It was a surreal moment, and I had the 7-year-old jumping on my head. It's kind of awkward, but she was happy, and she's happy when Daddy wins.
You know, Mike, when you were chosen by Todd Pletcher, your longtime friend and trainer, when you were chosen to present him into the Hall of Fame last year, you gave a wonderful speech and left Todd with about 2 minutes to talk at the end, which I thought was very appropriate. And one of the things you mentioned in there, you said, we've gone from client to partner to friend to brother. Talk about that relationship.
You know, listen, it's when you start a partnership or relationship with somebody, you know, it's a business partnership, and as we've evolved, you know, it's listen, if Todd got out of the game tomorrow, I'd get out of the game tomorrow too. You know, it wouldn't be the same to me. So, you know, I've joked a couple of times. Listen, if I give you $10 million, will you quit? Just so I could save some money sometimes. But the reality is we just have so much fun, and like, you know, we've spent a couple of Tuesday nights when there's no racing, just with me, Maria, Tracy, and Todd, and you know, we can spend 4 or 5 hours together, and we don't talk about racing. We don't talk about racing, which is really, really special. I beat him in tennis recently. I shouldn't really tell the whole racing network that, but I did. He actually surprised me by being really good, by the way. But I did beat him, so make sure everybody knows that. And
is he a good athlete? Is Todd a really good athlete?
Listen, Todd. Yeah, Todd and I are early 50s, and yeah, we don't take it easy. So he's definitely. I've seen him play basketball. I've seen him play tennis. I've seen him. They sent me videos of him at a golf range. He can swing. Neither of us have 4.5 hours in a day. We're hoping that happens one day, but it doesn't happen anymore. So we never golf. But no, he's an athlete. He went to University of Arizona, and you know, he's probably played all those frat boy basketball and volleyball and stuff like that. But he's you know, he's an athlete. I'm a better athlete. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. That's clear. But he is, and you know, we have a lot of fun, man. We really do. And you know, it's funny, when I first started with him, I think people now know that he's got a great personality, and he's actually pretty funny, and he's quick. And a lot of people don't see that all the time, but if you're around him, you definitely see it, and it's fun to watch. And you know, when we won the Alabama the other day, I mean, you know, this guy's got to breeze 33 horses the next day, and I want to go out and celebrate. And I call him up. He doesn't pick up, so I'm not going to end there. I call Tracy up. She picks up, and I said, listen, if you want me to spend $10 million at Keeneland, you better show up at the Prime tonight. and it was great. Him, Hannah, Tracy, Hannah's daughter, and me, Maria, and Joya, and, you know, Brian Spearman and Aaron from Eclipse came, and you know, we had 75 people, and we really enjoyed it. And you know, that's what winning's about. You know, sharing it and enjoying it. And when you win a Grade 1 like Alabama, I mean, you know, it's a special race. And Todd wins so many of these special races, but a lot of people don't know. He just, you know, he goes home at 7:30 and looks at the set list for tomorrow and goes to bed at 8 o'clock and has to do it over again. I mean, it's life as a trainer. It's these horses don't take days off. You know, they don't have vacation time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it. But it's been fun, and I think, you know, as we've gotten older and more accomplished, I think, you know, him being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, and listen, we both know that there's everyone that's in the Hall of Fame has done a 1 in 100, but you know what Todd has done in his career is a 1 in a million. You know, I think in the speech I said he's in the Hall of Fame of Hall of Famers. You know, he's in that top, you know, 1% of Hall of Famers. So, you know, it was special, and you know, I wanted to give him a speech, you know, that I could be really, really, really nice to him and shout out all his accomplishments. But once I got a little too nice, I had to take some fun jabs at him. And he's done so much. He's amazing. You know, probably will go down as one of, you know, probably the greatest trainer of all time. I mean, if he trains as long as, you know, Mr. Lucas, he's still got, you know, Todd's got another 30 years to catch him, by the way. So he's amazing too, Mr. Lucas, by the way.
Yeah, it's an amazing trainer tree that Wayne Lucas has created, and the family atmosphere surrounding Todd, and as you described him, your brother, his good friend, the Hall of Fame jockey John Velasquez, is part of that team. Johnny, by the way, Thursday recorded his 1,000th Saratoga win, so congratulations to him, one of the true good guys in the sport. But Mike, you have been blessed with so much success in the sport of racing. Your other businesses, your careers in life have all turned out to be very successful. What is still left on the Mike Repole bucket list that you want to accomplish in racing?
It's funny, Mike. I still say to people, I still haven't figured out what I want to be when I grow up. And, for me, listen, I someone told me this a while ago, just, enjoy life, live every day like it's your last, and one day you'll be right. So, that passion that you saw last weekend, you know what? Next weekend when I got Dynamic One in the Jockey Gold Cup, or I have Forte in the Hopeful, I'm hoping that the video screen's over to me again. That means we won. But, listen, I'm all about work hard, play hard, and have fun. And, a lot of people that work really hard, they don't enjoy it, or they don't have fun, or it passes them by quickly, or, they don't share it. There's a lot of successful people that, I had 55 people with me last week. Trying to get, Nove at Saratoga, and Louis built a back room for me at Nove so I can accommodate my family and my friends, and Prime, where I have dinner upstairs. But that's the part of life that people just have to start enjoying themselves. And, I really have seen a difference this year in Saratoga. Obviously, 2 years ago it was COVID. Last year, people came back, but they were hesitant. And this year feels like I think people have come back and really appreciate life even more because it's been paused for 2 years. And, it's a nice feeling to go back. We almost lost it, and now we got it back, so it feels really good. But it's been great. And, I never thought I'd be in a position like this. I dreamed about it. I've always said think big, dream bigger. But, now I'm in my 50s and it's happening. So, and I got a wife and a daughter and parents still alive. I'm really blessed. And, I really wish that, if I could pass on anything, is just like, listen, when you think about what's going on in life, there's a lot of great things happening. You can focus on the negative or the positive. You can do either one. And I choose to focus on the positive.
Oh, what a beautiful way to end this conversation. Mike Repole with me here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Mike, all the best with Nest and your entire stable, and continued success, my friend. It's always a delight to catch up. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I really appreciate it. All right, bye.
Mike Repole here on HRRN. You talk about a guy that loves the sport, loves the game, has a passion for everything he does. There you go. That's your guy. You want a spokesman, a poster child, if you will, for thoroughbred racing? That's your guy. That's your guy. Fantastic stuff. All right, when I come back, we welcome in another bright star in the sport of thoroughbred racing. It is Jockey Jose Ortiz. This is the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Adena Springs stallion American Guru is a star in the making, with his first foals arriving this year. From a family steeped in tradition, offering Mr. Prospector influences on both sides, and breeders can tap into the famed Leafards Delta line. A winner on both turf and Tapeta, American Guru recorded 4 wins from 7 starts, with victories from 5 furlongs to a mile, including this brilliant win over the Belmont Park turf in 132.09.
American Guru swings up on the outside, 3/4 in 108.22. And holding on here is a Tribute with another furlong to go. American Guru yet to get by, but still trying hard. A Tribute on the inside. American Guru draws even. American Guru getting to a Tribute late. And American Guru and Irad Ortiz have won it by 2.
American Guru, standing at Adena Springs. Visit adenastallions.com.
I'm here with Joe Brown Nicholson of Nicholson Insurance Agency. Joe, how do you value a horse for insurance?
Well, Mike, it's easy to value a horse when purchased out of a public auction. The insured value would simply be the auction price. But insuring homebreds can be a little more involved.
How so?
Well, factors such as a stud fee, conformation, pedigree, sales and race records of siblings, even popularity of the stallion, all come into play.
How closely do you work with owners in determining a horse's value?
Well, the owner has a pretty good idea of the horse's value, so generally it's just a matter of agreeing to the request and having the policy issued.
For all your equine and general insurance needs, including farm owners, liability, homeowners, auto, and more, contact Joe Brown Nicholson at nicholsoninsurance.com or call 859-224-7080. That's 859-224-7080. Nicholson Insurance Agency.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
This is Jockey Jose Ortiz, and I love the Horse Racing Radio Network, the best show on the planet.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Epicenter, still a lot to do on the rail. Epicenter now trying to move forward with a quarter to go at Pimlico. Epicenter is fifth, and on the inside, Early Voting takes over. Early Voting burst away with 1 furlong left to go. Epicenter, Rail Run, coming with each and every stride. Secret Oath out the center of the track. Creative Minister right there in that battle too, but it's Early Voting clear. Epicenter trying to gain late with a 16 to go. Early Voting shifting over to the rail. It's Early Voting to take it from Epicenter, a length and a half. Creative Minister, then Secret Oath. Close for the next spot. Simplification, Skippy Longstocking, then Armagnac and Happy Jack and Fenwick.
If you ask me, that guy, Dave Rodman, one of the more underrated race callers in the sport today, does a fantastic job. He has for a very, very long time up there in Maryland, and I just love his calls. I love his enthusiasm. I love his descriptions. He was always great for us every time we'd broadcast the Preakness and have his calls on radio, and that one there, another good one from Dave Rodman. That's the Preakness Stakes this year. Early Voting getting the victory under Jockey Jose Ortiz. He is back in action later today in that Grade 1 $1.25 million Travers Stakes. 5:44 Eastern is the post, 1.25 miles for what might determine the 3-year-old champion for this season. Depending on which horse would emerge victorious later today, that very well could determine this year's Eclipse champion 3-year-old. We are efforting Jose Ortiz now. He is set to join us in this segment. Again, he will be back aboard Early Voting for Chad Brown, the son of Gunrunner, looking to make amends for his 4th-place effort behind Epicenter in the Jim Dandy in July. We'll see if he can turn the tables. He's going to have to prove that he can carry that speed 1.25 miles. Now, he should have a tactical advantage. When you look at this field, there isn't a whole lot of early speed. You have to think that Early Voting is going to be on the lead. Zandon prefers to come from off of it. I know he was close up last time out in the Jim Dandy, but that was a slower pace scenario. Epicenter can be close, but I think it's going to be Early Voting who shows the way. He appears to be the one that will inherit the lead, if nothing else. And if Jose can slow him down enough on the front end, second start off the layoff, maybe he does what he did in the Preakness. So in the Preakness, I know he did stalk just a little bit. But if he gets loose on the lead here in the Travers, he could be a handful in the stretch in that second race off the layoff. So we'll see. Again, we are efforting Jose Ortiz. He's a busy man. Look at this schedule for Jose Ortiz later today. There are 13 races on that Travers Day program. He's going to be riding in the Ballston Spa, technical analysis for Chad Brown. He comes back in the Forgo with Baby Yoda for Bill Mott. He rides in the Alan Jerkins, Jack Christopher for Chad Brown. He rides in the Personal Ensign, Ladruska, for Fausto Gutierrez. And then Soldier Rising for Christophe Clement in the Sword Dancer. So Jose Ortiz has plenty of things to talk about with me. If indeed we do get a hold of him here this morning, we are working on that. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and do this as we continue to reach out to Jose. Let's bring you your Kentucky Bred Spotlight for this month of August. This is the monthly report we bring to you, and we continue to beat the drum because, look, if you're going to be racing horses, you don't want to leave money on the table, right? It is such a tough game. You just don't want to leave money out there that you could be getting, which is why you want to race and breed in Kentucky. Maiden special weights at Churchill Downs were increased to $120,000, and a $2 million Arlington Million Day was added just a couple of weeks ago. Ellis Park is going to offer purses of $340,000 per day, including claiming, which establishes itself as the best place to prep your 2-year-old. And the KTDF has been added to claiming races. So there is an opportunity at Ellis Park for great money there. Kentucky Downs was upgraded to a 7-day meet. The maiden special weight purses were increased to $150,000. The FanDuel Turf Sprint is now a Grade 2. And the Dueling Grounds Derby and the Ladies Marathon Stakes are now Grade 3s. Additionally, over $200 million has been distributed to Kentucky breeders since 2006. And with purse money soaring, exceeding $134 million in 2021, and with the KBIF contributing nearly $16 million to eligible breeders, there is clearly no better time to race and breed in the Bluegrass. Find your Kentucky bred at the Keeneland September sale. You can breed them, raise them, race them in Kentucky. We all win. Go to KentuckyBreds.com and KBIF.KHRC@ky.gov for more information if you want to learn about racing and breeding here in Kentucky. Okay, Jose Ortiz not getting much response here, so no answer from Jose. He must have been tied up with workers or whatever it might be. You know, that's one thing that I say all the time when talking about some of these big-name jockeys and trainers that join us for this morning show, these hours from 8 to 11. They're working. This is their time to be working. So any time that a trainer or a jockey takes time out of their schedule to spend 10, 12, 14 minutes with us here, we greatly appreciate it. And sometimes they get pulled away, especially jockeys. All of a sudden there's a late worker that they need to be on. There are turf works, taking place all the time at Saratoga. Maybe that's a situation, but whatever it might be, we appreciate Jose making the effort here this morning, and we'll get a chance to catch up with him down the road as we move down the road to the Breeders' Cup. By the way, that segment with Mike Repole you just heard, you can go back and listen if you missed it on podcast later today, but that segment down the road to the Breeders' Cup, all presented by our friends at Breeders' Cup. The Breeders' Cup edging ever closer now, and we'll be there as your official radio home of the Breeders' Cup for the 16th consecutive year. The only place you're going to be able to hear the Breeders' Cup on radio is right here with us on the Horse Racing Radio Network, and we are proud and privileged to be able to bring that coverage your way both Friday and Saturday. You can go to our website and see that schedule, and as we get closer, we will post the full Breeders' Cup week schedule. It, of course, includes our customary Breeders' Cup countdown shows, which lead into the Breeders' Cup Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. Those will all be hosted live from Keeneland. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday, we bring you all that race coverage, including a special Breeders' Cup edition of the Equine Forum, this very show you're listening to right now. 70 days, 1 hour. No, check that. We are now, I read that wrong. We are now 69 days, 55 minutes, and 42 seconds away from the Breeders' Cup coming to Keeneland, and that's going to be a really big deal. All right, let's go ahead and take another break. Obviously, Jose was tied up this morning. When we come back, it is time for this week's edition of the TwinSpires Triple Play. Still to come, trainer Bill Mott at 10 o'clock Eastern. Kurt Becker, Stroll Through Racing History, and I Ask, They Answer with Dale Romans coming up at 10:30 Eastern Time. Tim Wilkin also going to be here with Dale for that segment as usual. This is the Equine Forum presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
The TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Horsemen, handicappers, and racing fans won't want to miss a single day of the 7-day FanDuel meet at Kentucky Downs in early September. Thanks to the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund, registered Kentucky breds will run for $150,000 in maiden races, with allowance races starting at $160,000. With 17 stakes totaling $10.7 million, you are not going to want to miss a day. Reserved seats on sale at KentuckyDowns.com. There's Unique, and then there's Kentucky Downs.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of Dubawi standing in Kentucky. Dubawi, one of the world's most celebrated stallions, is now a sire of sires. His top sons at stud are making a name for themselves across the globe. With a picture-perfect pedigree, this son of Dubawi brings one of the world's most potent bloodlines to America. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tenda Equine and Pet Care products have been keeping world-class equine athletes happy and healthy for generations. Keep your equine athlete looking and performing well with Tenda Next Generation Wound and Skin Care Treatment, along with nutritional supplements, leg and muscle care products, salves, hoof care, poultice, topical aids, and grooming products. Visit tendahorse.com today.
The Royal Palm Meet is just heating up with summer thoroughbred racing at Gulfstream Park. Join us Friday through Sunday for heart-pounding racing excitement and delectable hospitality. Enjoy the races outdoors at our new Carousel Club, or cool off in a private suite, or our trackside restaurant, 10 Palms. For stake schedules, reservations, and ticketing, head to GulfstreamPark.com.
Hey, it's Corey Lannery. You're listening to the Horse Racing Radio Network.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
It is Speaker's Corner who is in control here in the stretch. Speaker's Corner has opened up on the field. Speaker's Corner is under a hand right here, and he's got a 6-length lead as they pass the 16th pole. Speaker's Corner in a dominating performance, winning the quarter. Won it by 7 furlongs in 1 minute, 21 1/5 seconds.
Welcome back. Mike Penna with you on this Saturday morning. John Embriel once again with the call. That was the Carter Handicap and Speaker's Corner with a victory in that Grade 1 race. He is the morning line favorite in this afternoon's Bing Crosby out of Del Mar. We have spent a lot of time talking about the races at Saratoga, rightfully so. It is Travers Day, but we don't want to neglect that big Grade 1 and win in your in event out at Del Mar. So we're going to talk about that for you here in this next segment. Want to remind you about the poll question before we get to this week's TwinSpires Triple Play. The poll question for you here this morning, because Speaker's Corner is part of that, I asked you which morning line favorite is most likely to get upset later today. Epicenter in the Travers, Clairiere in the Personal Ensign, Jack Christopher in the Alan Jerkins or Speaker's Corner in the Pat O'Brien. You can go to @HRRN on Twitter, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook to let me know your thoughts and weigh in on that poll question. And, of course, you can always email the show, mike@horseracingradio.net. Well, it is time now for this week's edition of the TwinSpires Triple Play. And to do that this week, I welcome in Vance Hanson, who is with BRIS.net. He is also with TwinSpires, does a fantastic job with all of the blogs and some of the handicapping that goes on over there. And Vance is with us now here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. Vance, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good to be with you.
Yeah, great to be with you and excited to take a look at these big races. You have selected 3 races for our listeners to keep an eye on later today. Those are the Personal Ensign Stakes at Saratoga, the Sword Dancer also at Saratoga, and the Pat O'Brien out at Del Mar. So let's go ahead and kick it off with the Personal Ensign. Latruska, she makes her return, the defending champion. She looked good winning this race a year ago, but we need to find out if she's still the same Latruska we've been accustomed to seeing. What do you think? Is she?
You know, I have my doubts about that, especially after kind of caving in to the pressure in the Ogden Phipps. I kind of wasn't a huge fan of her efforts earlier in the season. I mean, she did beat Clairiere in the Apple Blossom at Oaklawn, but it did just, to me, it just didn't seem like the very best effort compared to some of those that she did last year. So I think I'm going to go in another direction in the Personal Ensign. Obviously, Clairiere and Malathot are the 2 fillies to beat, but, the last time the 4 main contenders in this race ran against each other was in the Ogden Phipps, and if you took a poll of most of the people that watched the race, I think a lot of them would have said that, the horse that ran the best race wasn't the winner. It was third-place finisher Search Results. She pressured Latruska into setting a very hot pace in that race. And after Latruska kind of wilted away, Search Results, went to the went to the front for a short time in the stretch, but then the pace eventually got to her as well. But she wound up only losing by a couple of lengths to Clariere and Malathot. So arguably, Search Results ran the best race in the Ogden Phipps. And I think the Personal Ensign is going to develop the same way the Ogden Phipps is. The difference is the Phipps was a one-turn race. This is a two-turn race. I don't see the pace being as fast as it was at Belmont, but I do see Latruska going out to the front. I see Search Results sitting right behind her in second, and the two favored fillies kind of even further back. And to me, I think Search Results has a great chance to get first run at Latruska, turning for home. And she has a win and a second in her last two tries over 1 mile and an eighth. I think she represents the value in the Personal Ensign, so Search Results is kind of the way I'm going.
Yeah, interesting pick. It's as you pointed out, the big stars in this, Latruska, Clariere, Malathot, they've been meeting throughout the year, but Search Results certainly a bit of a fresh face, if you will, when it comes to this division in here. She has run against a couple of these, like in the Ogden Phipps, as you referenced, but she certainly looks like, from a pace perspective, Vance. And I'm curious, when you talk about her getting first run and sitting right off of a horse like Latruska potentially, when you're handicapping these races, especially a short field like this, how much are you emphasizing the pace scenario in your selections?
I try to do it as much as I can, but as you know, in these short fields, the pace and the way that a race kind of develops kind of goes out the window. And, an example of that, you can go back and look at the Jim Dandy Stakes, which will earlier in the Saratoga meet, where you had a lone speed on paper in early voting, and he simply failed to stay the 1 mile and an eighth despite having a huge pace advantage. Zandon ran ahead of Epicenter during that race, which is unusual considering how those two have run in the past. So, you can do the best job you can trying to determine what the pace scenario is going to be, the pace flow, but oftentimes what turns out to be the case in reality is completely different.
Talking with Vance Hanson from TwinSpires and from BRIS.net, your TwinSpires Triple Play kicks off with the Personal Ensign at Saratoga later this afternoon. The Personal Ensign race number 9, 4:32 Eastern is the post. It will be followed by the second leg in the TwinSpires Triple Play, which Vance has selected. That is a race that is, in my opinion anyway, a bit more wide open than what we're going to see in the Personal Ensign, and maybe a little different scenario because we go 1.5 miles on the turf in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. 5:05 Eastern is the post. Vance, this is a pretty good race, pretty evenly matched. How'd you see this one?
Well, I do agree with you. It's very evenly matched. The horse that and for those of folks that listen to my appearance on the BRIS.net call-in show on Thursday, I'll be repeating a little bit of my material here, but I really do like number 1 Adamo for Chad Brown, a 4-year-old who will break from the rail going 1.5 miles. Adamo, I think, is really developing at this time into, the top U.S.-based turf runner at long distances, over 1.25 miles up to 1.5 miles. He was imported from France last year, made his first start in the U.S. back in February at Fairgrounds, and he's run 4 times, only won once, but I think he had legitimate excuses in his first 3 outings. He barely missed in a Grade 3 at Fairgrounds behind a lone speed. Then he ran over the Churchill Downs turf that not a lot of horses were getting a good hold of on Derby Day, and he ran 3rd there, and then ran into another pace scenario problem in the Manhattan 2-back where he kind of got stuck behind a lone speed, his stablemate Tribuvan, who's also in the Sword Dancer, and he did rally for second, but there was just no catching the speed that day. Last time in the United Nations at Monmouth, he finally put it all together, won fairly comfortably in the end by about 1.5 lengths, going 1 mile 3/8. And, if he can reproduce that effort in this race, going an extra furlong, there's ample speed from Tribuvan in this race and Channel Maker as well. I think Adamo looks really solid here as perhaps the mild second choice at about 7-2.
He'll break from that inside post position, going 1.5 miles at Saratoga. First of all, going 1.5 miles. Should we really worry about post positions at all, Vance?
No, not really.
Yeah.
It's every horse is going to have ample time to find their position early, and obviously there are certain parts of the points in the race where he could run into traffic, could get stopped, but that's only if he stays on the inside. I assume he'll try and save ground as much as he can, but kind of shift his way out for running room when the time is right.
If for some reason Adamo does not win this race, who else might you have your eye on?
I thought Gufo, who won the Sword Dancer last year, looks rather interesting. He will have blinkers back on. For Christophe Clement, he wore blinkers last year when he was doing his best work both at Saratoga and at Belmont. They took the blinkers off of him to start this year, and I think the results in his last couple of races speak for themselves. I think he needs the blinkers to stay more focused, get into the race more rather than lagging behind a slow pace. So I do expect a better performance from Gufo here.
All right, but it is number 1, Adamo, the top pick in the TwinSpires Triple Play for Vance Hanson. We'll move to the final leg, which is on the West Coast. That is the Grade 2 Pat O'Brien, a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup, and 7 furlongs on the main track. 9:02 Eastern, 6:02 on the West Coast is post time for this Pat O'Brien. You're going to hear from the man who trains the favorite in this race, Hall of Famer Bill Mott, coming up in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, Speaker's Corner is the 6-5 morning line favorite. He will have the services of Hall of Famer Mike Smith. What do you think? How'd you see the Pat O'Brien, Vance?
Well, Speaker's Corner makes all of the sense in the world when you consider he just ran up against Flightline and
Life is Good.
Life is Good in those last couple of races and just was not near either one of them. My concerns are with him. Number one, he's shipping to new terrain at Del Mar in Southern California. He's never run over the track. He's facing horses with good form over the track, winning form over the track, so I think that is an issue. The second factor I considered was that, even though losing to Flightline and Life is Good is not terrible, I don't think his performances were really his best performances that we've seen this year. To me, looking at the races that he ran earlier this year and comparing them to his last 2 races, he has the look of a horse that potentially peaked too soon earlier this season and at places like Gulfstream and Aqueduct. So, he's going to be 6-5, even money perhaps in the Pat O'Brien. He certainly has could win, but I think he's worth taking a shot against at the price. And the horse I kind of landed on here was Get Her Number for Peter Miller. Get Her Number was a Grade 1 winner as a 2-year-old going 1 mile and a 16th. They tried to turn him into a Derby prospect, didn't work. Then they moved him to the grass, and then that didn't work. But just recently this year, they've cut this horse back to 1 turn, and I think the change in his performance has been quite eye-opening. And Get Her Number had a really good prep in the Bing Crosby last time out, rallying for second behind American Theorem, who's back to challenge him here. I think with the extra furlong and an expected hot pace, Get Her Number looks to me like a viable long shot. He's 8-1 on the morning line. I think I'm going to lean in his direction.
Yeah, very interesting pick, and I do like it. I like the value play. Riddle me this, Batman, if you will. Number 1, CZ Rocket, 15-1 on the morning line. That really surprised me. Do you think that this horse should be 15-1, Vance?
No, I think he should be a bit lower. He won the Pat O'Brien a couple of years ago, and then he ran second last year. I guess my main concern, it seems like his speed figures have kind of fallen off just a little bit over the last 6 months or so. He kind of has the look to me of he is 8 years old now. He's probably not at his prime, and I would have to say that this edition of the Pat O'Brien is arguably a little bit tougher than the one he ran in last year and won maybe even 2 years ago. But yeah, I still think he's offers plenty of value for those that are still willing to stick with him. And yeah, I would say something more around 10-1 would probably be more logical.
All right, so just to recap, the 3 selections by Vance Hanson for this week's TwinSpires Triple Play, which you can go to TwinSpires.com and bet these 3 races, not as a specific triple play bet, but you can bet all 3 races at TwinSpires and maybe make a parlay out of them and just let it ride as they keep chugging along throughout the day. Number 2, search results in the Personal Ensign. Number 1, Adamo in the Sword Dancer. And number 5, Get Her Number, the value play at 8-1 in the Pat O'Brien out at Del Mar. Vance, I want to ask you about something that you brought up just a short time ago. You mentioned the BRISnet.com call-in show that you sat in with Bobby Newman this past Thursday. You said some of that information might be the same, but I'm sure there were some different tidbits that you threw out there this morning. How'd you like doing the call-in show? Kind of fun, isn't it?
It was fun. I enjoyed listening to the callers, and it was a very good experience. And I'll tell you that hour just flies by when we're having a good conversation and discussion, and people are opining in not only on the events of the past week, but looking forward. So it was a good time, and maybe do it again in the future.
Yeah, I'll encourage people to head back to our website or wherever they are getting their podcast and listen to the replay of that show. The podcast is posted. It's the BRISnet.com call-in show. You can catch it every single Thursday from 6 to 7 Eastern, Sirius XM satellite radio, the same channels you're listening to right now, and, of course, streaming worldwide on our website, horseracingradio.net. But the podcast up there for you right now as well. Vance, listen, as always, really appreciate the visit. Good luck with those selections, and let's go 3 for 3, my friend.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend, Mike.
All right, you too. Vance Hanson with this week's TwinSpires Triple Play. Again, number 2, search results in the Personal Ensign. Number 1, Adamo in the Sword Dancer. And number 5, Get Her Number in the Pat O'Brien. The 3 selections for Vance. And next week, I will welcome back Joe Christofek to the program. He has not joined me on this segment since giving out his big bomb winner at Saratoga. I believe was 20-something to 1 was the paid $40-something or whatever it was for that winner a few weeks back. He will be back with me next Saturday on this very same segment, and it'll shift back to 10 o'clock Eastern. Hour 3 does kick off at 10 Eastern. And it kicks off with the Hall of Famer Bill Mott, which is why we need to flip things around a little bit for you here this morning on the format. Kurt Becker will take you on a stroll through racing history. And at 10:30, I welcome in Dale Roman's Tim Wilkin for this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. If you have missed any part of this show so far, my conversation with Brad Cox or with Tim Wilkin in the first hour of the program, Mike Repole was fantastic to kick off this second hour at 9 o'clock Eastern. If you missed that conversation with Mike, you can go back and listen to the podcast of this program at your leisure, horseracingradio.net and Horse Racing Radio Network on Apple Podcasts and Google Play and Podbean. Wherever you're getting your podcasts, you can now listen to Horse Racing Radio Network as you've been able to do for a very long time, and listen at your leisure, flip through and listen to those interviews because they were really a lot of fun. And, of course, Vance Hanson with that TwinSpires Triple Play. All right, when I come back, I will get you ready for hour number 3. It is a loaded third hour as well. Stay with me. It's the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
With the fullest fields in the country and quality racing year-round, there's never been a better time to reap the rewards of breeding and racing in Kentucky. Purse money in Kentucky is at an all-time high, and our average purse per race outpaces California, Florida, and New York. Registering your horse with the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund ensures that you'll be racing for the maximum purse amounts available for registered Kentucky breds. Kentucky breds. Breed them, raise them, race them. We all win.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Well, John, the stage is set for the final transaction.
That's right, Joe. Heather's moment has arrived, and you just hope all that training pays off.
Heather lays down her purchase, but Randy rings it up as slowly as he can.
He is a wily veteran.
It gives Heather's eyes the chance to wander.
Uh-oh.
Yep, she's looking at the cigarettes.
There's nothing good back there. Quit now, and in 5 years, your odds of getting certain cancers drop 50%.
Meanwhile, Randy's stone-faced. He's giving nothing away. He just stands there, wetting his cashier's finger on that sponge.
Heather toes the rubber.
Here we go. Heather's arm is in motion. But instead of pointing at the back wall, she just grabs the gum off the counter.
That's a slick move.
Heather back. She is out of there. Even Randy tips his cap to Heather. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally wants you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Want to get the latest HRRN content directly on your computer or mobile device? Then subscribe to our podcast using the Podbean app or Apple Podcasts. Just go to hrrn.podbean.com on your computer and click follow, or download the Podbean app and search HRRN. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and listen to our latest episodes anytime. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our podcasts today.
Okay, this is Carl Nasker, and I listen to HRRN.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And just a couple minutes away from hour number 3, but as I customarily do here at the end of the second hour of the show, it is time to take a look at a few historical dates in racing history as they apply to this weekend in thoroughbred racing. And we begin with a few anniversaries which happened this past Thursday, August 25th. It was August 25th, 1987, that jockey Julie Crone gained her 1,000th career victory aboard Tiger Higgins in the second race at Monmouth Park. Of course, Julie now a Hall of Famer. A fellow Hall of Famer, Pat Day, had an anniversary on Thursday as well. It was August 25th, 1997, that Pat gained his 7,000th career victory aboard Bay Harbor in the second race at Saratoga. Day became the 5th rider to reach the 7,000 win plateau. August 25th, 2001, a record Travers Stakes Day attendance of 60,486 watched Point Given win the race, dubbed the Midsummer Derby. The day's total betting handle of $34,529,000 was also a Saratoga record. And one more for you. Now, let's give you two more, because I like this one too. Yesterday, August 26, 1972, Secretariat won the Hopeful Stakes by 5 lengths at Saratoga for his second stakes win in as many tries. How about that? And who knew at that point? We knew Secretariat was special at that point, but who knew he would go on to become Secretariat? August 27th, 1953, that is today, the anniversary of this particular moment in racing. It was significant from a historical perspective. Doesn't involve a jockey or a trainer, but the Thoroughbred Racing Associations denounced a plan for off-track betting in New York. John A. Morris, the TRA president, declared, although it could mean increased profits for the racetracks, off-course betting would inevitably subordinate racing and bring on an adverse public reaction which would kill a traditionally great sport and an economically significant industry. How about that? That's a historical significance as it applies to today, August 27th, 1953. All right, those are historical dates in racing history, just a couple minutes away from hour number 3, and I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. Want to pass along the poll question for you one more time here this morning, and again, try to get you those results in hour number 3 later in the show. But I started by asking you this question in the beginning of the program, and so many of you have taken the time to weigh in. Which morning line favorite is most likely to get upset later today? Is it Epicenter in the Travers, Clairiere in the Personal Ensign, Jack Christopher in the Alan Jerkins, or Speaker's Corner in the Pat O'Brien? And if you were listening to Vance Hanson in the previous segment, then you know he feels like it very well could be Speaker's Corner in the Pat O'Brien, which won't be good news. I probably won't even bring that up to Bill Mott to kick off hour number 3. I don't think I'll do that because he will saddle Speaker's Corner, who has been so good, especially here in 2022. 2 hours down, 1 to go on today's Equine Forum. When I come back, hour 3 does indeed begin with Bill Mott. At 10:20, Kurt Becker takes you on his weekly stroll through racing history. And at 10:30, Dale Roman's Tim Wilkin with I Ask, They Answer. If your local station is leaving us at this time, you can continue listening to the third hour of the program nationwide on Sirius 216 XM 204, affiliates in the Louisville, Kentucky market. That's ESPN 680, and streaming at horseracingradio.net. Hour 3 of the Equine Forum is next, right after I pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is HRRN.
From the rail to your radio, this is the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Mike Smith says go with Royal Delta, and she is going indeed. Going to open up a 5-length lead here. And Authenticity runs in second as they come down to the finish. Here is a champion on display, Royal Delta. Geared down in the final yards of the Personal Ensign. The others need to get going now. Spring Quality is third, and Glorious Empire still got run. Glorious Empire's gonna do it all the way under Julian Laparo taking the Sword Dancer.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
A furlong to run. Matoli to catch. He's got a 2.5 length lead. Firenze Fire is second. Kelly Beggs Captain is third. Behind the mighty Matoli, who won the Forgo by 3.5 lengths.
Thunder Gulch forges to the lead at the 8th pole. Pyramid Peak running the race of his life, but he's second, and Malthus is a closing third. Composer flattens out, and it will be Thunder Gulch, the 126th winner of the Travers.
Now here's Mike Penna.
Welcome back, hour number 3. Very busy show, star-studded show for you here this morning, covering a lot of ground. Of course, a lot of the conversation is focused around the Travers and the Travers Stakes card, and rightfully so. Mike Penna, Baron in the backstretch with you on this Saturday morning, and happy to have you along for the ride. Good luck at the Travers today for all of you placing those wagers. We hope you're doing it at TwinSpires.com. If you missed any of the conversations I've had so far, trainer Brad Cox was here, Tim Wilkin was here, Mike Repole was outstanding, and Vance Hanson with the TwinSpires Triple Play, then just head back to our website, check out the podcast at your leisure, and do that on every major podcast platform by subscribing to Horse Racing Radio Network. Bill Mott is set to join us here to kick off hour number 3. I'll visit with him momentarily. We are efforting him, and he has a full schedule coming up on this Saturday afternoon. He is competing in 4 Grade 1 races with 5 horses. He has Baby Yoda and Cody's Wish in the Forgo. Channel Maker, the 2019 winner of the Sword Dancer, is back for another try in this year's renewal at Saratoga today. And he has Longshot Gilded Age in the Travers Stakes, and then Speaker's Corner, the morning line favorite in the Pat O'Brien. So it is a busy day, but that's nothing new for the Hall of Famer, who has saddled more than 5,200 winners in his stellar career and still going strong. And I know he's looking forward to his son Riley getting a start on his own, going out on his own, coming up very, very soon. All right, Bill Mott set to join me here in just a few minutes. We'll get a hold of him. As we await Bill on a very busy morning, I told you at the top of the show that today's Travers very well may, and probably should, decide a 3-year-old championship. If not a definitive 3-year-old champion, it certainly should give us a front runner to win the 3-year-old championship, because outside of Mo Donegal, who is sidelined with bone bruising, the Belmont winner, and Taba, you really have all the major players competing in the Travers later today. And I posed this question, and I'm going to pose this one to Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin coming up at 10:30 Eastern as well. I asked them, I said, I'm going to ask them, a victory by Rich Strike, the 80-1 Derby upsetter, a victory by Rich Strike in the Travers today, is that enough to thrust him to the forefront in the 3-year-old champion conversation? I don't know if it cements a 3-year-old title for Rich Strike if he wins today. But it certainly narrows that field down, in my opinion. The only horse in the Travers with 2 Grade 1 victories on his resume is not Epicenter, it ain't Zandon, and it ain't Early Voting. And it's not Rich Strike. It's Cyberknife. Cyberknife has quietly put himself in a position for a 3-year-old championship. People haven't been talking about Cyberknife the way they've been talking about Epicenter or Mo Donegal, for example, after he won the Belmont. They haven't even been talking about Cyberknife the way they've been talking about Nest, the filly. And they're certainly not talking about Rich Strike. I think most people are of the opinion that that was a fluke on the first Saturday in May. He's a one-hit wonder. He had his day in the sun. He'll try to prove that he's more than just a one-hit wonder later today. Now, Early Voting is interesting because Early Voting won the Preakness. Right? Early Voting took the middle jewel of the Triple Crown. But then, I won't say disappointed in the Jim Dandy, but it was kind of a disappointment. He had the lead, he backed up, and Epicenter went by him pretty easily in the Jim Dandy 4 weeks ago. He has to find a way to make up about 5 lengths on that rival today. If he does it, and I told you earlier in the program, I think he probably ends up being the controlling speed in there. If he carries that speed, that 1.25 miles today in the Travers, Early Voting would then have 2 Grade 1s on his resume. Zandon, same thing for him. He won the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland prior to the Kentucky Derby. If he finds a way to rebound today and finally get past Epicenter. So far, Epicenter has owned Zandon. Zandon's 0 for 3 against Epicenter. Has never finished in front of that rival. But if Zandon can somehow find a way to get past Epicenter, he'll have 2 Grade 1s on his resume. Do we start looking at Zandon? The difference between Zandon and Early Voting and Rich Strike, all of them sitting now with 1 Grade 1 win, is that Zandon has not won a Classic. Early Voting won the Preakness, Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby. That gives them an edge over Zandon, even though they would all have 2 Grade 1, or they would have 2 Grade 1 wins if any of those 3 were to win the Travers today. I think it gives Rich Strike and Early Voting the inside track here coming into today's race. But the horse with the, in my opinion, biggest chip on his shoulder and the strongest case for a 3-year-old championship right now is a horse that didn't win a Classic but has 2 Grade 1 wins. Cyberknife, the Arkansas Derby, and the Haskell. And if he wins the Travers, the Midsummer Derby, he'll have 3 really big Grade 1 wins. Now, they won't be one of the Classics. I guess the Travers, okay, Midsummer Derby, we'll count that as a Classic. But I think that really, if Cyberknife, he's the one horse that can really drive home his point later today and put himself at the head of the class. And he may quietly be there already. Epicenter has been good. He's been consistent, probably the most consistent runner in this entire class. But he's 0 for 2 in Grade 1s. Second in the Derby, second in the Preakness. Boy, what a race. A lot on the line coming up on the Travers. Again, we are efforting Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. A busy morning, much like Jose Ortiz. And by the way, Jose did send me a text that said he apologized for not being able to join us earlier in the program. He did get busy. He had to go work a horse. Didn't expect that. We understand. We completely understand. And look, Bill Mott is working at this time. So any chance we get to catch up with Bill and get a few minutes, we really appreciate it. We'll keep trying, but it looks like Bill might be tied up with training some horses. But let's talk about the Bill Mott trainees coming up. Now, in the forego, he's up against it. I know that Cody's Wish is 7-2 on the morning line, and Baby Yoda, his other entrant, 8-1. So Cody's Wish, the more highly regarded, the more accomplished runner, too. He's a Grade 3 winner. He won the Westchester at Belmont back on May 7th. So he does have a little bit of street cred. But listen, this is Jackie Warrior's race. Jackie's Warrior is the undisputed leader in this sprint division. He has been an absolute monster at Saratoga, at Belmont, at Churchill Downs. It doesn't matter. He doesn't take his track with him. He's 1-2. So Bill Mott is really going to be relying on the stigma of Saratoga being the graveyard of favorites, the graveyard of champions. If either Cody's Wish or Baby Yoda is going to pull off an upset in there today. He may have a better chance in the Sword Dancer, because in the Sword Dancer, Channel Maker has at least proven that he is that caliber of runner. He won the Sword Dancer 2 years ago. And he gets a rematch or a showdown with last year's winner, Gufo. So that's pretty cool. When Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin join me at 10:30, I'm going to ask them if one of those two previous winners of the Sword Dancer is going to be the one standing in the winner's circle after this race later today. Channel Maker, an 8-year-old gelded son of English Channel, Canadian bred, Ontario bred, has only won 9 races. And I say only won 9 races. He's won some big races, but he's only won 9 races from 46 lifetime starts. But he's earned $3.6 million. He is 2 for 3 here in 2022. You remember he started his campaign this year by winning the Grade 2 Elkhorn at Keeneland. Disappointed against many of these same rivals in the Grade 1 Manhattan back in June, and then came back and won a minor stake at Belmont, a listed stake at 1.5 miles back on July 8th. So it's not like he comes into this race in bad form. And at 8-1, he might be pretty good value. I mentioned he's won 9 of 46 lifetime starts. 6 of those 9 wins for Channel Maker have come at this very same Sword Dancer distance. Now, he's tried it 17 times, but he's 6 for 17 with 2 seconds and a third at today's 1.5 mile distance of the Sword Dancer. So if the pace scenario were to play out, now we know Channel Maker does his best running when he's either on the lead or up close to the lead. And I think he's probably even better with a target in front of him. So if he sits just off of any type of pace that's in here, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of other pace. So Channel Maker may just inherit the lead. I guess Trebuven for Chad Brown is a horse that likes to be out front too. So if Channel Maker can stalk that rival, I think he's better with a target in front of him. And it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't be the worst stab in the world to say you're going to play Channel Maker in today's Sword Dancer. 8-1 on the morning line. He's a long shot in the Travers, is Bill Mott. Don't expect that you're going to make much of a case. I talked about the things that are on the line in the Travers and the Stars. Gilded Age is not one of those stars. He was second in the Curlin behind Artorias, who was back in the Travers today too. But Gilded Age is not a horse that this would be. Obviously 30-1 morning line, but this would be a colossal, huge upset if Gilded Age were to pull off a win in the Travers today. I just don't see it happening. But on the West Coast, in the When in You're In Pat O'Brien, he has the morning line favorite as Bill Mott. Speaker's Corner. And go back and listen to Vance Hanson with the TwinSpires Triple Play from the end of hour number 2. He makes a good case for why Speaker's Corner deserves to be the favorite. He is a deserving favorite at 6-5. But then he also picks against him and thinks he could be beatable. And how often have we seen these top horses? We typically with Breeders' Cup, we see it a lot. Top horses from the East Coast travel west. It's a whole different ballgame, whole different surface. There's a different type of speed out there in California, right? We talk about California speed, West Coast speed. It's different. And Speaker's Corner might find that out. I think I asked you the question in the poll question today, which of the morning line favorites is most likely to get upset later today? I think it's Speaker's Corner. Because there are some true California sprinters in there that are high-end sprinters. And as part of his TwinSpires Triple Play, Vance Hanson gave out Get Her Number, 8-1 on the morning line for Pete Miller. Second last time out in the Grade 1 Big Crosby at Del Mar. I think that's a very tough spot for Speaker's Corner. And if I'm picking a horse as the morning line favorite that's most likely to get beat today, it's probably him. American Theorem pulled off that minor upset over Get Her Number in the Bing Crosby, won that race at 7-1, but comes into the race in very, very good form. Loves Del Mar, is 2 for 3. And there's something to be said for that horse for course angle. We hear it all the time. Horses for courses. Well, American Theorem likes Del Mar. Speaker's Corner has never set foot on Del Mar, at least in the afternoons. Get Her Number, always tough. And the one that intrigues me, 8-year-old gelding, CZ Rocket. CZ Rocket, through much of his career, has ducked nobody. He's competed many times in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I don't know if it's 2, 3, whatever it is. Last year, he was second in this very same race, the Pat O'Brien. I know he's 8. I know that he didn't run very well at Oaklawn in January, but he came back and ran really well to win that allowance race at Del Mar on July 23rd, his most recent start. Umberto Rispoli on a roll. Trainer Pete Miller knows a thing or two about winning races at Del Mar. Don't be surprised if CZ Rocket runs a big race here today. 3 for 7 at the distance. He's raced 5 times at Del Mar. 2 wins, a second, a third. Don't be surprised. 15-1 on the morning line seems way out of line on CZ Rocket. I know going back into Greatest Stakes Company from Allowance Company, you would expect that the horse would be a long shot. But we're not talking about any horse. We're talking about CZ Rocket, who has proven to be a Graded Stakes caliber runner. And not just a Grade 3 runner, a Grade 2 runner. And the Pat O'Brien is a Grade 2 today. I might have referred to it earlier in the show as a Grade 1. And that's because you think about it should be a Grade 1. The quality of horses that are run in the Pat O'Brien. But it's not. It's a Grade 2, purse of $250,000, but it is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. So we'll see. A lot of action. Obviously, Bill Mott tied up on this Saturday morning, not going to be able to be with us. We certainly understand. We appreciate his efforts to try to make it onto the program here this morning. We'll catch up with him down the road. When I come back, Kurt Becker takes you on his weekly stroll through racing history, and then at 10:30, I once again welcome Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin for this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Airdrie Stud's Bo Liam has proven to be one of the hottest first-crop sires in central Kentucky. A gorgeous son of the leading young sire Liam's Map, Bo Liam arrived on the national stage with one of the most impressive debuts in the history of Churchill Downs, stopping the clock in 1:08.3, marking the fastest 6 furlongs in history at Churchill. His next 2 races were equally dazzling, as he posted 106 and 107 Beyer speed figures, placing him firmly amongst the fastest 3-year-olds of his generation. The brilliance and support to make it big. Airdrie Stud's Bo Liam. Think about it.
The Royal Palm Meet is just heating up with summer thoroughbred racing at Gulfstream Park. Join us Friday through Sunday for heart-pounding racing excitement and delectable hospitality. Enjoy the races outdoors at our new Carousel Club, or cool off in a private suite, or our trackside restaurant, 10 Palms. For stake schedules, reservations, and ticketing, head to GulfstreamPark.com.
It's time now to shine the spotlight on the Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week.
They're coming down for the finish. It is Essential Quality and Midnight Bourbon. Essential Quality has won the Run Happy Travers. He won the Bill Mott with class. He wins the Run Happy Travers with style.
A great look back at Champion Essential Quality's game victory in last year's Travers. In the past 30 years, Essential Quality and Barnmate Street Sense are the only Breeders' Cup Juvenile winners or 2-year-old champions to win the Travers. And that makes Essential Quality your Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week. Darley Stallion Essential Quality, Tappett's leading money earner in North America and the first Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner ever to capture the Belmont Stakes, and only the 7th colt in the 51-year history of the Eclipse Awards to be named champion at both 2 and 3. Essential Quality will stand his 2nd season at Darley in 2023. Learn more about Essential Quality and all the Darley Stallions by visiting DarleyAmerica.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Hello, I'm Kurt Becker. Thanks for joining me as I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. Ask anyone who the greatest foal from the crop of racehorses born in 1970 is, and most will answer Secretariat. And it would be difficult to deny that Big Red was the greatest of that group, given not only his memorable Triple Crown run, but also his influence on pop culture, as the name Secretariat remains a household name even 50 years later. But at the least, an honorable mention should be given to Forgo, the huge gelding who ran 4th to Secretariat in the 1973 Kentucky Derby before going on to earn 3 consecutive titles as Horse of the Year from 1974 through 1976. Foaled on April 30th, 1970 at Claiborne Farm in Paris, Kentucky, Forgo was a son of Forley and a great-grandson of 6-time champion British sire Hyperion. He was a homebred for Martha Farish Gary, one of only 5 individuals ever to be recognized by the National Museum of Racing with the title Exemplar of Racing. Sent to Hall of Famer Cheryl Ward for training, Forgo was gelded in the summer of his 2-year-old year and did not race until January of his 3-year-old season. Having spent most of that 1973 campaign in the shadow of Secretariat, Forgo won the Romer and Discovery handicaps at Aqueduct to close the year, then opened the 1974 season by winning 4 more black-type events to run his total to 6 consecutive stakes wins. With Panamanian-born Heliodoro Gustinez, better known around the barn as Gus, serving as his jockey, Forgo was emerging as one of the most versatile horses in North America. In the fall of 1974, for example, he won the Woodward at 1.5 miles, the Vosburg at 7 furlongs, and the Jockey Club Gold Cup at a distance of 2 miles in 3 consecutive starts. At season's end, he was named Champion Sprint Horse, Champion Older Male, and Horse of the Year. That alone would have made for a nice career for Forgo, but the giant gelding was just getting warmed up. Early in 1975, Forgo won the Widener Handicap in Florida, carrying 131 pounds. It was the greatest amount of weight ever carried by a winner in the event's 38 runnings. He also repeated in the Carter Handicap at Aqueduct, carrying 134 pounds and conceding as much as 21 pounds to his foes. In the Brooklyn Handicap that year at Belmont Park, Forgo unleashed a dazzling performance, getting 1.25 miles in 1 minute 59 and 4/5 seconds under 132 pounds and breaking a track record which had stood for 62 years. He conceded 23 pounds to the runner-up, while also becoming the first horse in 4 decades to win back-to-back editions of the race. 2 weeks later, Forgo won the Suburban at Belmont at 1.5 miles under 134 pounds, becoming the 16th millionaire in the sport's history. By season's end, he would add a second consecutive win in the Woodward and would boast a record of 16 wins in 24 career stakes races while conceding anywhere from 4 to 23 pounds in each. Not surprisingly, Forgo repeated as champion older horse and horse of the year. Forgo would add even more to his resume in 1976. Now in the barn of Frank Whiteley Jr., with Ward having retired, Forgo won the Brooklyn Handicap for the 3rd consecutive year, becoming the first horse in 40 years to do so. He tied Kelso's record by winning a 3rd consecutive edition of the Woodward, conceding anywhere from 14 to 29 pounds to his rivals. But it was the 1976 Marlboro Cup at Belmont Park which ranked as perhaps Forgo's most memorable performance. It was a muddy track, which Forgo hated. He was carrying 137 pounds, and the distance was 1.25 miles. And with a furlong to go, he seemed hopelessly far behind Honest Pleasure, who was getting an 18-pound break in the weights. Dave Johnson gives us the call.
Into the stretch. Honest Pleasure has the lead by 1.5 lengths. It's Dance Spell second. Father Hogan on the inside third. Forgo gains ground on the far outside. A furlong to the finish. Honest Pleasure has the lead. On the outside, here comes Forgo. Father Hogan toward the rail. It's Honest Pleasure. Forgo on the outside. Forgo on the outside and Honest Pleasure. Here's the finish. Too tight to call. Forgo on the outside. Honest Pleasure on the rail. Noses apart.
With jockey Bill Shoemaker rallying him down the middle of the track, Forgo had won by a nose in 2 minutes flat, tying the stakes record and earning his 21st stakes victory. It was also his 12th career win at 10 furlongs or greater, and it solidified his 3rd consecutive title as champion older male and as horse of the year. Another Eclipse Award as champion older male horse would follow in 1977 when, despite giving his rivals anywhere from 12 to 25 pounds, Forgo won the Woodward for an unprecedented 4th year in a row. Forgo retired in 1978 with a record of 34 wins in 57 starts and earnings of $1.9 million. He won 24 stakes, including 14 Grade 1 events, with the stakes ranging in distance from 7 to 16 furlongs. And he accomplished it all while carrying tremendous amounts of weight throughout his career. A 1979 inductee into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, Forgo died 25 years ago today, on August 27, 1997, at the Kentucky Horse Park near Lexington. We remember him as a towering champion who was one of racing's great heroes of the 1970s and who earned the respect of horsemen everywhere. Please join me again next week when I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. For HRRN, I'm Kurt Becker.
And once again, my thanks to Kurt and to Keeneland for making those segments possible each and every week. If you have missed any of Kurt's Stroll Through Racing History segments, all you have to do is head back over to our website, horseracingradio.net. You can check out the special podcast page dedicated to those stories and listen to every single one. There have been some amazing ones. Go back and listen at horseracingradio.net. When I come back, Del Romans, Tim Wilkin, they will be here. It is this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Achieve Equine, makers of Flair Equine nasal strips, brings you innovative, evidence-based products for the health and well-being of your equine athletes, like the new Impact Protection Half Pad from Europe, VIP Equestrian, that provides a superior layer of cushioning for the horse's back. Visit achieveequine.com for more information on the innovative products we offer. That's achieveequine.com. Breathe easy, we've got your back.
More days, more money, more fun, Colonial Downs.
More days, count them, 9 weeks of racing in 2022. More money, more than $600,000 in average daily purses. And Virginia bred, sired, and certified runners race for more money in our restricted program and bonuses in open company races. More fun, more turf racing than anywhere else in the country. And new this year, a low 12% takeout on the Pick 5. Colonial Downs, more days, more money, more fun. First post Monday through Wednesday, 1:45.
A series that just means more now has even more meaning. The Breeders' Cup Challenge Series.
As an owner, I love the Breeders' Cup winning your in-series.
Your chance to win an automatic berth to the world stage, playing out in over 3 new regions.
They're off.
West.
They're into the stretch.
Midwest.
Fighting on hard with a furlong to run.
East.
On the far outside, he just kicked it in.
Each with one win-in-you're-in race per division.
And a battle at the 8th pole.
Where the finish line is just the beginning.
They're off.
Win a regional Challenge Series race and earn an automatic entry to the Breeders' Cup World Championships at Keeneland on November 4th and 5th.
Automatic berth takes a lot of pressure off.
With pre-entry and entry fees paid. And travel and nominator awards worth thousands. The Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. It just means more.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And Mike Smith lets the bull roll. He's in front by 5 as they come to the quarter pole. But there is cause for concern. Concern comes on. Second on the outside. Tabasco Cap is well behind in third. They're coming down to the final furlong. Mike Smith asking Holy Bull for everything he has. Concern is coming hard under Gary Belly. It's still Holy Bull desperately trying to hold. Concern a final threat, but it is Holy Bull as game as a racehorse can be coming down to the wire. Holy Bull wins. What a hero. Concern came to him at the end, and it was 15 lengths back to a Belmont Stakes winner.
Tom Durkin with a masterful call of the singular greatest performance in Travers history, and it is delivered courtesy of the greatest horse of all time, the late great Holy Bull. But will that Travers moment be at the top of the list for Dale and Tim? Plus, with a Travers victory for Derby winner Rich Strike, will that be enough to lock up 3-year-old championship honors? And will champion Latruska rebound from a dismal effort last time out? We're going to discuss those topics and so much more coming up on this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer with trainer Dale Romans and turf writer Tim Wilkin, and it is all presented by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program in the College of Business, and it all starts just 30 seconds from right now.
Learn the business of horses in the world's only accredited equine business program, the University of Louisville Equine Business Program. The University of Louisville has a legacy of excellence educating and developing industry leaders for over 35 years. Classes are taught by industry experts in state-of-the-art facilities located in the heartland of America's equine industry. The University of Louisville Equine Business Program. When it comes to horses, we mean business. For more information, visit business.louisville.edu/equine.
All right, well, Dale and Tim are in the starting gate. They're ready to roll for this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. And, Dale, I'm going to kick it off with you with this very first topic. The Travers Stakes, of course, set to be contested for the 153rd time this afternoon. And I thought it would be kind of fun to start today's show by talking about some of the top moments in Travers history as we remember them. Me, it's Holy Bull. We just heard that call of Holy Bull winning in grand fashion over Concerned. Tom Durkin with a great call. So how about for you, Dale? Which Travers moments are at the top of your list?
Well, there's only one Travers moment at the top of my list, and you're pitching me a softball here, as everybody probably knows. I guess Keen Ice going by American Pharoah would be hard to top for me. That was a great day, and it was a great moment when he got to the lead. And I've told the story a million times, walking back with a horse, and Leroy Jolly standing in the barn and giving me a hug and welcoming me to the Travers Club. It was an exciting day, and I can't imagine ever having a better Travers.
How many times have you gone back to watch that race on replay?
No, I watched it several times. But there's everything that went around that whole week and that day. It's bigger than just the finish of the race when we got there. It was just an amazing day, amazing week with Farrell being the star of the show and showing up and having to cap the number of people that could come, the walk over with all the people canopying over the path as we walked. I mean, it was almost like there was a ceiling on the path. They were on each other's shoulders, and how many people wanted to see American Pharoah. And I hated to upset them all, but it was the respect they showed the horse walking back. They cheered him. You know, they appreciated his performance, and then Leroy standing there at the end topped it off. And like I've told the guys in the barn with me, Kelly and Eric, I said, I don't advise you putting the blanket of roses over your shoulders and walking down the road in Saratoga. You'll get a lot of people that talk to it. Yeah, that happened to me after a few beers. But it was a fun week. It was a great moment. And, I mean, what else do you need to do?
Is there another moment, Dale? Obviously, Keen Ice is going to be at the top of your list, but is there another Travers memory that you have going back a few years maybe?
Well, I thought it was pretty good Travers when they did heated with McPeak and Karen McLaughlin. That was a good day that day. Those were two nice horses that came to the wire together and dead heated. And you know, the first time, I think it was Corporate Report winning. It was the first Travers I ever attended live. I think it was Corporate Report won it. That my friend brought me up here when I was 15 years old just because I wanted to go to Travers. And we came up and watched the race. And that, you know, this is the end of really 3-year-old racing at the highest level. I know we started the Pennsylvania Derby. Don't want to take anything away from it. These horses now are adults after today, and they go out and compete with the older horses and move on and aren't just 3-year-olds anymore. So it's kind of the end of the major 3-year-old season.
Yeah, that dead heat, by the way, Alpha and Golden Ticket in 2012. Ramon Dominguez, David Cohen hitting the wire together for Kieran and Ken McPeak. That's pretty cool stuff. Timmy, how about for you?
Well, first off, I would have bet every dime that I have in my feeble possession that Dale was going to bring up that race. So that was the best bet of the whole meet. And, you know, kudos to Dale because it was a great day for him. The couple Travers that stick out to me, well, there's more than a couple because I've been to more than a couple. But I remember the one I didn't go to in 1996. It was the only one I didn't go to because my stupid ways got me into trouble because these people I knew were getting married out in Canandaigua. And I said, you know, if you guys invite me to your wedding, I'll bring you a glass duck. So they invited me to the wedding, and it was on Travers Day when Will's Way won, and I had to go find a glass duck to give them for a wedding present. And it took me probably about 5 months to find a glass duck. But I was out at this wedding, and it was in the middle of the ceremony, and when the Travers was going off. And back then it wasn't, you know, you didn't have the internet. I don't think you did, but I was on the phone with someone at the track. And they were telling me a blow by blow. And, you know, I liked Will's Way in the race. And right when Will's Way hit the finish line, the person told me, and I screamed, "It's Will's Way!" right in the middle of the wedding. All these people looked at me like I was insane. But I think those people still have their glass duck. And I remember another race that I thought that really sticks out to me was in 2008 when Colonel John won. I was convinced that Mambo in Seattle, Neil Howard's horse, had beat him, and I was on my way to the windows to collect a big win bet. I thought for sure he had won. The photo lied that day. I'm still convinced that Mambo in Seattle beat Colonel John. But you know, you can talk Travers for this whole show and just talk about the different. Every race has its own great little story in it, but those are two that stick out to me.
Yeah, very, very
and
unique.
Of course, Keen Ice.
Yeah, and of course, Keen Ice. Everybody has those Travers moments. For me, obviously Holy Bull, but I also remember Easy Goer in '89 and sitting at the picnic tables at the top of the stretch, and he came flashing by and went on to win, and that was really cool too. So happy Travers Day to everybody out there. Let's move on to question number 2. And guys, this one a little bit different this week. I wanted to shake it up a little bit. So in honor of our friend and 2004 Travers winning trainer Nick Zito, let's play a few rounds of right or wrong.
Yeah, right or wrong. Am I right? What do you think? Right or wrong?
So here we go for Nicky Zito. After I read these statements, you guys tell me if you feel it is right or wrong, and then defend your answers. So, number 1, if Rich Strike wins the Travers today, he will be the 3-year-old champion. Right or wrong?
What do you think? Right or wrong?
What do you think, Timmy?
I think it's awesome that Nick Zito has joined us, but I think I'm going to put a little caveat on it. I would say he would be the 3-year-old champion. Yes, if he were to win, he'd be the 3-year-old champion right after the Travers, but there's still races to be run. But, you know, to win the Kentucky Derby and the Midsummer Derby is a colossal feat. And if he were to win that, he does, you know, he has to be considered the 3-year-old champion right now. I don't know if he's going to be the 3-year-old champion when it's all said and done, but I'm going to give it a right on that. If he were to win the Travers, he's the 3-year-old champion right now.
I'd say he's leader in the clubhouse for sure. And by the way, he's training very well. I see him every morning. He looks great. He's going around. He's walking around the same shed road Keen Ice came out of to win the Travers. And if he wins, I think the only way he gets beat if Epicenter goes on and wins the Classic. Then there might be some argument that Epicenter's performances in the 2 Triple Crown races and beating older horses in the Classic, it would be between those two. But I think it would come down to those two if he was to win today.
Yeah, a lot on the line in the Travers today, no doubt about it. All right, number 2. Earlier this week, Dave Grenning of the Daily Racing Form tweeted out that of the trainers saddling horses in this year's Travers, only Brad Cox can say that he has won the race. That will still be the case when the horses cross the finish line later today.
Yeah, right or wrong? Am I right?
Dale?
You know, he's got a big chance to win it. I think this Travers has got a lot of decent horses in it, and it's a very interesting race. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Brad won the race. But I think it's a little deeper field than people are giving credit to. Epicenter is obviously the favorite, and you got Rich Strike. And the other horse in my barn that I really like, Ain't Life Grand. He's going to be 30-1. He's going to run a big race. It's going to be an interesting showdown today. I can't wait to see it happen.
You know, with after Cyberknife won the Arkansas Derby, I remember Brad was talking about how he thought this horse's best days were going to come later in the year. You know, he didn't show up in the Derby, and now since then he won the Grade 3 Met win at Churchill, and then he followed it up with the Haskell, and both of those wins were head and a nose or a head, and he knows how. It seems like he knows how to win. He finds a way to win. Do I think that Brad is going to be the only trainer after today's race that has a Travers win? I'm going to say wrong. I don't think Cyberknife is going to win. I think he's going to be a factor, but I don't like him on top. So I think there will be another trainer that maybe Dale Romans could say, welcome to the Travers Club after today.
Who do you think it is, Timmy?
Oh boy, I have to play my hand right now. I guess the time is right. I like Zandon a little bit. I've liked him all along, and I think the race over the track that the Jim Dandy was the first race for him since the Derby. I think it's going to do wonders for him. I think he's sitting on a huge race.
All right, so Chad Brown joins the Travers Club with Zandon for Tim Wilkin. All right, topic number 3.
Wait, aren't you going to ask Dale?
Did Dale? You didn't give out a pick, did you? Who wins the Travers,
No,
Dale?
I didn't give out a pick. I got too many friends involved in the race here, but I would, if I had put my money down today, I'd have to bet on Epicenter. He's done nothing wrong, and I thought his race up here was a great prep. The way he came from off the pace, he got a little steady and sit back further probably than he wanted to be, and he's done nothing wrong all year. If I had to bet my money, I mean, it's easy to take the favorite, but I think Epicenter's awfully talented horse. Another son, and not this time.
Before the Derby, we always talk about how it's somewhat mind-boggling that Steve Asmussen has never won the Kentucky Derby. How on earth has he never won the Travers, too?
Yeah, I mean, he's won everything else. And those races, you only get one shot a year, and I don't care how many horses you are. All the stars have to be in line to win either one of them.
Yeah. All right, couple more topics here with this right or wrong fun little game we're playing here on this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. Champion Latruska reminded everyone that horses, well, they're not machines when she threw in a clunker as the heavy favorite in the Ogden Phipps last time out. Guys, she redeems herself today with a win in the personal ensign.
Yeah, right or wrong. Okay.
Tim?
I love that. I'm saying right. I think Latruska, the Ogden Phipps was like, I talked to Fausto Gutierrez this week, and he said it's like, he likened it to a 19-game winning pitcher in baseball who got knocked out of a start in the second inning. He says, do you still think that pitcher isn't any good because he got knocked out in the second inning? He says that the horse wasn't feeling well. It was sick at the Belmont for the Phipps race. And before that, I mean, this is a horse that just goes to the lead and just doesn't get caught. And I think that's what's going to happen today. This is a small field in the personal ensign, the likes of Clariere and Malathot and Search Results and even Crazy Beautiful. They're all accomplished fillies and mares, and but I think Latruska might have them over a barrel because I don't know if they're going to catch her.
Yeah, I have a little inside information that she's been working super in Kentucky, and I heard the same thing you did. She was coming off of being a little sick. Sometimes they can fool you. You think they're over it, but they're still lingering on. And then she went back to Kentucky. She's working like her old self. I think she's a winner.
All right, so we'll go with right that Latruska actually redeems herself coming up later today in the personal ensign. The last two winners of the Sword Dancer will meet in today's renewal of that historic race. You have Gufo, who won last year for Christophe Clement, and Channelmaker, who won it 2 years ago for Bill Mott. One of those two will be standing in the winner's circle again today.
What do you think? Right or wrong?
Dale?
I'm going to go right. I like those two horses. One of the two can win it. I'm going with Billy Mott. Bounced back off of last year. And when again, it's amazing how Mott can keep these horses around year after year after year. These good grass horses, especially. He's the master. I'm going with Billy Mott.
He's Channelmaker's 8 years old. There's another 8-year-old in the race too. This horse just keeps coming out and showing that he still wants to do this. As a writer, you're always looking for the best story, and that's probably one of the best stories. But if you want to pick with your wallet, I'm going to go against Channelmaker in this because I just think there's such a deep field in this race. I mean, there's so many Group 1 and Grade 1 or Group 1 winners in this. Aidan O'Brien's got a horse, Broom, who is the morning line favorite, who looks very interesting in this race. And Chad Brown's got a 3 in here too, and he's been winning everything on the grass. It's just, I just think it's a very deep, competitive field. And if I were to say Channelmaker or Gufo, I'm going to say wrong with the Nick Zitoism. I'm going to say it's someone else.
All right. Well, we can't get enough Nick Zito. So, guys, I'm going to throw in one bonus right or wrong topic. Here it is. If Keen Ice has taught us anything with his upset of Triple Crown winner American Pharoah in the 2015 Travers, it is don't bet against Dale Romans on Travers Day. So Howling Time will upset this afternoon's Grade 1 Alan Jerkins.
Yeah, right or wrong? Am I right? What do you think? Right or wrong?
Dale, what do you think? Right or wrong?
I'll take that. First of all, you all know Nick is one of my very good friends. I love Nick. He's a great character of the game and one of the most fabulous horse trainers of all time. And I'm going with right. What's wrong with winning it for the second time? A race named after my good friend Alan. And before that, it was named the King's Bishop, which Alan Jerkins trained. I think that's pretty interesting. They took his horse's name off and put his name on. But why not? Why not me? I got a good friend who's a professional golfer, Mike, and he would, before the big races, before the Travers, I might have told this story already. I get confused with how many I've told. He said before he got on the first tee, he would always say, why not me? Why not me? Why can't I win this tournament? Somebody's got to. So before the Travers, he texted me, why not me? Or why not you, he said. So why not me today? Go on and win my second Alan Jerkins.
Boy, how do you follow that? How can I go against my compadre here? I'm going to say yes, right or wrong. Right. Dale Roman's going to win the Alan Jerkins, even though Jack Christopher could be a handful.
Yeah, I love it. Dale, good luck later today, man. That would be pretty cool to see that happen. And I'll just tell you guys a real quick story because I want to make sure we have enough time for one more question and then our West Point of the week. But Nick Zito actually took the time to record those with me on the backstretch one day. And I told him what we wanted to do. I said, Nick, I want to create this right or wrong segment. I want to use your tagline, if you will, that you always kind of throw out there. And he was so happy to do it and so happy to be part of the show. I think we should get Nick as a special guest on this show one time with the two of you. What do you think?
100%.
Absolutely. No brainer.
We will do that. We'll get Nick here with us.
That one's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
That's 100%
Yes.
right. 100%
Absolutely.
right. All right, this next question is submitted by a listener. And by the way, if you have a question you want to hear Dale and Tim debate, you can email the show, mike@horseracingradio.net, and we'll make sure we work it in for you. But this question is submitted by Dave in Chicago, who thinks that Churchill Downs should have a stakes race named after the Dale Romans trained Shackelford. That is currently not the case. Dave notes that the Preakness winner was stabled at Churchill. He won the Preakness, he won the Met Mile, and scored in 3 of his 5 starts at Churchill Downs, including wins in the Grade 2 Churchill Downs Stakes and his final career win in the Grade 1 Clark. So, guys, Dale, I'll come to you first. Does Dave in Chicago have a point here? Is Shackelford worthy of having a race named in his honor at Churchill Downs?
Obviously, Chicago has very bright horse people around there. Yeah, why not? This is funny because I thought this one day. I said, of all the races I've won at Churchill Downs, I spent my whole life here. There's not one of my horses, not Little Mike, not Shackelford, not this time. There's not one horse, Kitten's Joy. None of them are named after any of my horses. I think that'd be an excellent idea. The Shackelford undercard race, Derby Day, older horses. I think it'd be a great spot.
Well, I mean, how can I say no? How about how about this? I mean, there's a race named for D. Wayne Lucas. Why don't they name one just for Dale Romans? Just call it the Romans race. Run it, I don't know, any day you want. Run it every day. The Dale Romans race.
I don't think I've earned that right yet. Wayne Lucas, as y'all know, is one of my heroes. He's way in front of me, but I don't know if I've earned it yet. Maybe after I'm gone. But Shackelford would be perfect.
Although, Dale, you're like the mayor of Louisville, man.
Yeah, but they bestow those honors. You either got to live to be 80 or be gone before they'll do that to you for you. But maybe my kids can give a trophy away like Jimmy's going to give a trophy to me later today.
I love the optimism. There you go. That is 100% right for Dale Romans. Okay, we have about a minute and a half left in the show, so let's get right to it. It is the West Point of the Week presented by West Point Thoroughbreds, a final parting shot. Don't forget you can experience the lifestyle of thoroughbred racehorse ownership with the gold standard in racing partnerships for over 30 years. That's West Point Thoroughbreds. Just text HORSE to 66866 to learn about ownership. That is HORSE to 66866 to learn about ownership with West Point Thoroughbreds. Message and data rates may apply. All right, guys, one parting shot. What is your West Point of the Week? Timmy, take it first.
Well, I'm going to go back to what happened here on Thursday when John Velasquez won his 1,000th career race at Saratoga. Just a phenomenal achievement for a first-class guy. And, when you talk to John, numbers have never been anything that he's been into. Angel Cordero was longtime agent before Ron Anderson. He was a cutthroat competitor who always wanted to win. Johnny was never about the numbers. He just wanted to go out and ride and do his job. But, even he admits that, hey, 1,000 wins is 1,000 wins. A great milestone for him.
It was a great milestone. Congratulations to Johnny. But my point of the week is going to be, today we pretty much wrap up 3-year-old season. It's been a great 3-year-old run. Now the focus shifts on to Breeders' Cup after today, in my opinion, is the way racing goes as the calendar flows. But I want to congratulate everybody that competed in the 3-year-old season the entire year.
Yep, well said. Dale, good luck with Howling Time later today. Timmy, enjoy the races, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. You as well.
All right, we will do it all over again next week. It is I Ask, They Answer. It's presented by the University of Louisville Equine Industry Program in the College of Business. I am back with more. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
70 organizations, 160 facilities, 7,800 horses, 1 accreditation. The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is the only accrediting body in thoroughbred aftercare and is supported by all aspects of the thoroughbred industry. To learn more or to support the TAA, visit thoroughbredaftercare.org.
James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to Dennis Melvin's house. It's time for the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course. Sticking to healthy habits in this kitchen is going to take focus and determination, but it can be done, JB.
He's already entered the snack part of the course, and he's eyeballing a jar of chocolatey candy.
That is tempting right off the start.
Uh-oh, he's reaching, Bill, but he pushes it away.
Great stiff arm.
He's approaching a plate of delicious-looking iced cookies.
Oh, Dennis, you only want one of those.
He blows right by him for the apple.
Oh, the fridge. It's make or break time, JB.
He stares down some rich-looking treats. Uh-oh, looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle, and shuts the door with his elbow in record time.
Unbelievable move. I gotta see that again.
And he's out. He even turned off the light.
That's the way you execute a midnight snack run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
When kids need medical care, they will often face stressful and life-changing experiences. From complex treatments to long hospital stays, these special patients miss out on the things that most kids take for granted and let kids be kids. That's where Starlight Children's Foundation comes in. Since 1982, Starlight Children's Foundation has transformed the in-hospital experience for more than 17 million seriously ill kids in 800 children's hospitals and facilities across the United States. Our state-of-the-art programs like Starlight Virtual Reality, Starlight Hospital Wear, and Starlight Gaming let kids just be kids, if even for a few moments. Whether donning an action figure gown instead of standard hospital issue, or settling into gamer mode, if it brings a smile, a laugh, or just a break from their reality, it's happiness delivered. Learn more at starlight.org. That's starlight.org.
Trainer Talk, presented by Fasig-Tipton.
Please join me in welcoming Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher.
Hall of Fame trainer Nick Zito on Trainer Talk. Welcome Hall of Famer Bob Baffert to the program. Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee, nice enough to spend some time with us. Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott here on Trainer Talk.
Dual Hall of Fame trainer Mark Cassey.
Trainer Talk, the biggest names in horse racing. Wednesdays, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Sirius 216, XM 204, and streaming live at horseracingradio.net.
Hi, it's Ian Wilkes here, and you're listening to HRRN Radio.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
The September issue of Blood Horse Magazine features 140 pages, which includes putting it all together, from its breeding operation to purchasing weanlings to sell it as yearlings to consigning horses. Woods Edge Farm is really on a roll. Lenny Schumann has that story. Training progeny of Quality Road, New Leaf, same deep roots. That's a visit to our friends at Mill Ridge Farm, which sees the Bell family working to move the farm and the industry forward, and so much more. That's all in the September issue of Blood Horse Magazine, again, featuring 140 pages. Download a copy of the September issue now from the Blood Horse Magazine tablet app via the App Store or Google Play, or subscribe today at bloodhorse.com/subscribe. And of course, when you subscribe to Blood Horse Magazine, you get a free Blood Horse Plus membership. That's a $50 value. Go to bloodhorse.com/subscribe today. My thanks to all of our guests who have made this show possible. It kicked off right away with trainer Brad Cox getting ready to saddle Cyberknife, looking for back-to-back victories in the Travers. That conversation, really fun. Tim Wilkin joined me at 8:35, our traditional Travers morning interview with the longtime turf writer, talking about the Travers and some of the storylines associated with this year's field. Owner Mike Repole was with me and was just fantastic, looking back on Nest and Mo Donegal and his relationship with Todd Pletcher. Got a chance to catch up with Vance Hanson for this week's edition of the TwinSpires Triple Play. My thanks to Kurt Becker for his stroll through racing history, and of course Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin for all their help with the segment you just heard. I ask, they answer. That segment comes back again next week, 10:30 Eastern, as we do every single Saturday here on the Equine Forum. Busy show. If you missed any portion of it, head to our website, horseracingradio.net. Check out the podcast. You can also do that on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, whatever it is. However you're accessing your podcast, just search for Horse Racing Radio Network and subscribe, and you'll get those podcasts as soon as they hit the air. You can go back to our website and listen to the podcast from this past week. Our Trainer Talk show, Michelle Lovell spent an hour with me on Trainer Talk presented by Fasig-Tipton. That was a really fun hour. Make sure you go back and listen to that. The BRISnet.com call-in show from Thursday, and yesterday's Weekend Stakes preview with Bobby Newman and our expert team of handicappers who take a look ahead to the Weekend Stakes races. That was the Weekend Stakes preview, which is now posted on our website as well. Awful lot of fun for you here this morning. My thanks to my producer, Lee Delapina, in our Lexington studio. My thanks to everyone who took time to weigh in on the poll question and to listen. And my thanks to Chauncey for handling all of our social media here this morning. Back next week, another full slate of HRRN programming. Check out the schedule at horseracingradio.net. Follow us on social media at HRRN on Twitter, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook, and you can subscribe to our weekly email newsletters as well on our website when you're there, so make sure you do that. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Mike Penna. We'll talk to you next week, and hey, bring on the Lions. Go Steelers.